le più scelte in Italia, ti guidiamo tra 72 percorsi di laurea e puoi provare gratis il tuo corso. Neodiplomato? L'università ti costa la metà. Blocca l'offerta sul sito.
Cogli l'occasione di un'avventura. Entro il 31 ottobre hai fino a 7.000 euro di vantaggi sulla gamma Subaru 4x4, benzina, ibrida o elettrica. Maggiori dettagli presso le concessionarie che aderiscono all'iniziativa e su subaru.it. Subaru.
The Brighton area goes back to Verbruggen inside the 6-yard box, rolled out to the left-hand side, and Igor, who is into the Brighton team today, 6 changes from the side that were walloped by 6 goals to 1 and Aston Villa last weekend. Interesting to see Roberto De Zerbi in his programme notes today actually apologising to the fans for that showing.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see for both teams today their reaction from disappointing results last weekend. Liverpool, all know what happened with that decision, but to see them come out today, play on the front foot already, aggressive in their press, and as Brighton, a really poor performance, and they've not been playing well of late, but although they're going to be expansive and open and trying to score goals today, they need to keep that back door closed as well.
And your hunch about Solly March playing on the left side of the fence has been proved correct.
Yeah, he's there next to the big, huge stature of Igor. He's an absolute colossal presence there next to Dunk, so big game for him. We can see him creeping into midfield areas as well, trying to close the gap of Harvey Elliott, stopping him getting on the ball.
Yeah, almost looked like a back three for a minute there as Dunk was left on his own in the central area, and Igor has advanced further forwards again and is really trying to close down Elliott and has put the pressure on him, and it squirts back to Van Dijk just outside the Liverpool area, but the centre half was a long, long way forward.
He is, and he creeps forward, and that actually leaves that Brighton back three up against man for man of that Liverpool front three as well, so they've got to be really careful with this tactic.
One to watch for sure as Alisson brings it just outside of his penalty area for Liverpool. Slow pace and then swings it to the left, but Robertson can't get there because Adingra's beaten him to it. Bounces in centre field where it's won well by Baliba, who, as Steve was saying earlier on, in case you didn't hear it, Roberto De Zerbi thinks could go to the very, very top. Rates him as big a talent as Moises Caicedo, and he gets his first Premier League start today. Baliba, the Cameroonian, who joined in the summer for just over £20 million. It's with Lewis Dunk for Brighton. No chances of note so far with just under 3 minutes gone. Veltman now advancing on the right flank for Brighton. Looked like he was shoved by Luis Diaz, and indeed Anthony Taylor has the whistle out. Brighton free kick just inside Liverpool territory. Dunk goes across to try and take it quickly and then actually thinks better of it. Roberto De Zerbi, all in black with the white trainers just in front of us. The commentary position here in the West Stand at the Amex is right low down, only about 10 yards or so behind the dugouts, which could be interesting when you've got some managers who have got a bit of spice about them, and Jurgen Klopp and Roberto De Zerbi don't definitely fit into that category. Klopp yet to get the better of De Zerbi actually. 3-3 at Anfield in De Zerbi's first game in charge, and then 2 Brighton victories here at the Amex in the FA Cup and the Premier League, as Gross takes this free kick, which Van Dijk is underneath, and I think Dunk is going to let that roll behind for the first corner kick of the game.
Well, it seems to be a bit of a low-driven ball in there from Pascal Gross. Normally that would go a little bit higher, someone making a run around the back, but Van Dijk got ahead on it, cleared it away, but we know what quality Pascal Gross possesses in set pieces, and now he can do that from a corner for Brighton.
Pascal Gross, who's so reliable with his dead ball deliveries, just addresses the ball and now retreats before he is about to bend in an in-swinger from that left side for Brighton. Goalless here, low flat one, training ground routine that nearly came off. March with a ball back in, Van Dijk sticks out the boot, goes behind for another corner. Well, Liverpool were caught cold there by the training ground routine.
Well, the imagination there was absolutely superb. I've never seen that corner before. It was driven in low and hard. Real ticky-tacky football. Solly March with the goal, with the shot on goal. There was a lot of bodies there to block, so something they've been working on.
Well, the Albion fans making the noise now as they enjoy a bit of pressure down that Liverpool end, looking for the breakthrough here at the Amex. More conventional corner this time to the far post. Dunk gets it back into a dangerous area. A couple of shouts for handball. There were enough red shirts back there to deflect it behind for a third corner in quick succession for Brighton.
Really good start from Brighton, really applying pressure. Just what this team needed, what the crowd needed to generate that atmosphere. Really positive play.
So, another Brighton corner as we just see a replay of what happened. It was a really good ball back in field by Duncan. Igor swung a boot at it, and it was a complete air shot from about 8 yards out. That was a good chance. Another Brighton corner. Again, it's a deep one. Dunk trying to get there at the far post, but Van Dijk has won the header well, but then Brighton are caught out because they've got plenty downfield here, and Szoboszlai brings it up to halfway, looking for Darwin Núñez in the left challenge. Belieber's been out-muscled. Núñez has it by the corner of the box, buffeted off it, but Solly March, that's going to be a free kick. He protests his innocence, but that was a pretty blatant body check there. Just decided thou shall not pass, and nudged him off the ball.
Yeah, Solly March done well in terms of covering round on Belieber. Belieber there, just watching the replays, more sort of concentrating on this, instead of shielding the ball, really making that body contact with Núñez Darwin there. And he got round him far too easily, but fair play to Solly March. Good recovery runs is what they're going to need with the pace and attacking prowess, what this Liverpool front three attack at.
Robertson is over the free kick then for Liverpool. Left side of the pitch, Alexander-Arnold there as well. Will it be the outswinger from Robertson or the ball whiffing in from Trent Alexander-Arnold? They are both stood over it with a look of intent on their faces. Both managers on the edge of their technical area. Jurgen Klopp in that pink-coloured t-shirt, just staring out into the distance. Robertson raises his arm in the air, so it's a free kick from the left wing for Liverpool. 7 minutes gone, 0-0. Alexander-Arnold's ball in is really disappointed. Deflected away to Szoboszlai, 30 yards out. His effort was poor as well, and it rebounds away for a throw to Liverpool on the halfway line.
Yeah, real poor quality there from Trent Alexander-Arnold. We know what he can possess in them dead ball situations as well. There was a chance there for Liverpool to apply a little bit of pressure then, get a good ball into the Brighton box. Certainly huge height in terms of Matip and Van Dijk that can get on the end of these crosses.
That's former Premier League midfielder Steve Sidwell with us on 5 Live's Premier League Sunday, and it really is a super Sunday for you with Arsenal against Manchester City to come at 4:30. John Murray will be joined by Peter Schmeichel for that one from the Emirates. Goalless in all of the 2 o'clock Premier League games at the moment. West Ham, Newcastle and Wolves against Aston Villa are also starting at the same time as this one here at the Amex between Brighton and Hove Albion and Liverpool. Breaking pass through the centre for Liverpool, looking for Szoboszlai, but Bruggen tried to be a bit too clever because he was in the D of his box, couldn't pick it up obviously, tried to use his feet, nearly got dispossessed, and once again it's that slightly shaky look from Verbruggen. Now we going to get an update now from Pat Murphy at Molineux.
Villa almost went ahead a moment ago. Lovely deep cross by McGinn to Cash, unmarked on the far post. Splendid save, low to his left by Sarr. And just now McGinn has gone close again from 25 yards. Wolves 0, Villa 0.
Solly March has it for Brighton in the left-back area. Tries to find Matoma. Liverpool almost found themselves through on goal again as Mo Salah nearly intercepted a crossfield pass across the back of the Brighton penalty area. It's gone out now for a throw on the halfway line, so let's find out what's happening at the London Stadium from Chris Temple.
West Ham 0, Newcastle 0, 7.5 minutes. Got a pretty leisurely Sunday afternoon start here in the London sunshine. The only half chance really, Newcastle have had the best of the possession. Elliot Anderson off balance, heading well over at the back post. But two teams looking to bounce back from a big week in Europe. 0-0 so far.
Both of these sides in European action as well in the Europa League on Thursday as Alexander-Arnold plays it through the centre of the pitch to Alexis McAllister. No boos from any of the Brighton fans when McAllister has been on the ball, and we were with Chris a short time ago and something has changed for him at the London Stadium.
Well, as I was finishing that report, Mark, West Ham broke down the left-hand side. Emerson pulled it back across the penalty area and completely unmarked. Thomas Souček stroking it in from 6 yards. West Ham with their first foray forward have taken the lead 8 minutes in.
And you can hear full commentary of that game on Sports Extra. Also commentary of Wolves against Aston Villa on the BBC Sport website for you as well, where you can find commentary of the late WSL game as well tonight. Liverpool against Aston Villa, which is at 6:45. At the Amex, goalless between Liverpool and Brighton. Liverpool looked like they were just starting to enjoy a bit of possession though, after Brighton had made the better of the starts. Luis Diaz in centre field, scoops it towards the centre circle, too high for Mo Salah. Igor wins it in the air, and then it's guided home to Alisson by Alexander-Arnold. Both sides yet to really hit their stride, Steve Sidwell.
No, they're not. You know, they're more concentrated in terms of out of possession, but this is the way Liverpool do look dangerous.
And it was Mo Salah trying to feed Andy Robertson with a run through the centre, and then Veltman is clattered by Luis Diaz just outside the Brighton box, so they will have a free kick. Just going back to that earlier incident where Verbruggen came out of his area, and you're sighing there because he nearly had an absolute howler.
Well, it wasn't just me, was it? It was near enough half of this back end of this Amex Stadium here. You just feel as though they're walking a real tight line there. They play on the cusp, a real risk and reward football, and you feel as though the fans at the moment are just, when it goes back to Verbruggen, they're just not sure on him at the moment. It's a few loose passes. They have come off, but still a little bit loose.
João Pedro is down here for Brighton at the moment. Not quite sure what happened, but Virgil van Dijk is sort of making a gesture towards the near side here that he didn't do anything wrong. So I'm assuming it was an off-the-ball something that happened.
Yeah, it was completely accidental there. I think he just trod on his toes. Maybe João Pedro went to make a movement beyond, and Van Dijk was looking at the ball and just stood on his foot. I mean, the size of Van Dijk, you wouldn't want him standing on your foot, but maybe it's one of the old-fashioned ones where maybe it's the new fashion now of letting your opponent know early.
Luis Diaz has lost out to Veltman on the right side as Brighton look at things. So João Pedro with a nice bit of skill to wriggle away from a couple of challenges. Now darting towards the edge of the box, knocks it wide to Adingra. Nice step over from him, but then Luis Diaz was there to mop things up after Robertson had been beaten. A bit of a loose pass though from Liverpool, and João Pedro's got to the byline, cuts it back, but there's no one in blue and white there, and it's cleared by Joel Matip. Both sides have been guilty of some sloppy play in and around their own areas. Liverpool got away with one there. Adingra won't get away though with a chop on Darwin Nunez, and Liverpool get the free kick. And there's been another red card in the WSL for Tom Gale.
We're inside the final 10 minutes mark. Man City 1, Chelsea 0, but City are down to 9. In the first half, Alex Greenwood sent off for 2 yellows. Now Lauren Hemp as well. 2 fouls. We've got 9 minutes plus added time. Man City 1, Chelsea 0.
And that is also live on BBC Two and the BBC Sport website for you as well if you wanted to catch the closing stages. Szoboszlai, meanwhile for Liverpool, just outside the D of the Brighton box, finds Luis Diaz, struggling for any options, so has to knock it square to Robertson. Goalless at the Amex with just under 13 minutes played, as Joel Matip in the part of the pitch that's still bathed in this lovely October sunshine goes back to Alisson. Now Van Dijk, no Brighton players in the Liverpool half, so he can just play it back to Alisson pretty casually, who's a long way out from his goal. Matip now going forwards on the right flank for Liverpool, into Mo Salah. Salah goes backwards of square to Elliott, and Elliott goes further back to Trent Alexander-Arnold. No obvious route through the packed Brighton midfield. All the blue and white shirts organised and disciplined, and Liverpool have retreated again.
Well, De Zerbi will be over the moon with what he's seen so far, out of possession from his Brighton side, into a back 4 possibly, and sometimes a back 5. So they, as you said, the distances and the shape look very, very spot on at the moment.
João Pedro with a nice flick, although it was a little bit risky, and then Evan Ferguson has gone over after Joel Matip challenged him from behind. He's furious with the decision, Matip, but it looked like a foul from here.
It did, and it's one area that I've just noticed on both teams. As soon as that ball goes into the striker, whether they're certainly when they're dropping into a deep position at false number 9 that people talk about, both defenders are very, very aggressive. Both sets of defence, both aggressive, really coming in, stopping that person, being able to turn and link the rest of the play up.
Brighton have it with Pascal Gross, 10 yards outside of his box, goes to his keeper Verbruggen, and he returns it to Gross. Nunez putting the squeeze on, back to Verbruggen, and again doesn't really feel convincing, and Lewis Dunk with a somewhat heavy touch as Nunez again put the squeeze on. Verbruggen now with nobody on him can knock it into Igor. This is all still just outside the Brighton penalty area, and it's Pascal Gross who's dropped in to split those centre halves before pinging a nice crossfield ball out to Veltman, who chests it down, but that allows Luis Diaz the opportunity to nip it and nick it out of play for a Brighton throw midway inside the Liverpool half. Veltman looking to take it quickly, but again nobody gave him an option. João Pedro comes short for him. Veltman still waiting before deciding where he's going to go, and he's gone all the way back to Lewis Dunk inside the Brighton half. Steve Sidwell.
Yeah, I mean, Veltman week in, week out, very, very solid when he plays. A 7 out of 10, just goes about his business. I'm really excited to see Adingra today up against Robertson. I think this is going to be a key area for him. They need to try and get him the ball at the moment. He's being tightly marked by Robertson, but when he's got time and space, he's certainly a player that can create and make things happen.
Robertson certainly aware of him, keeps peering over his shoulder to look at where Adingra is to ensure that he doesn't get the jump on him. And as Steve was saying, an intriguing battle perhaps developing there. Quarter of an hour played then, and goalless at the Amex as Verbruggen goes direct, and Robertson's underneath it with Adingra on his shoulder and cushions the header safely back to Alisson.
I mean, we talk about Deservi at the beginning of the game and shuffling around the pack, and it's not disturbed right at the moment. But like I said, Solly March is normally a right winger. He's playing left back. Lewis Duncan normally plays on the left side of the two centre halves. He's playing on the right hand side. You know, Dinger's out wide right. So there's a few changes that could just be telling signs to this Brighton team if they don't create things.
0-0 between Brighton and Liverpool, and it's the same story at Molineux between Wolves and Aston Villa. West Ham ahead by a Souček goal to 0 against Newcastle in the other 2 o'clock kickoff in the Premier League. And in case you need reminding, at 4:30, Arsenal against Manchester City live and in full. John Murray and Peter Schmeichel, your team at the Emirates, as Alexander-Arnold comes forwards on the right side and plays in a really good-looking ball for Darwin Núñez, but it was watched superbly by Solly March, who slid in and made the challenge. He was buffeted by Alexander-Arnold. Anthony Taylor plays advantage. Karo Matoma turning it into one, surging over halfway, and then he's nudged over by the former Brighton man, McAllister. And the home fans, who haven't been too frosty with him, are giving the Argentinian a bit of jip now for that, and perhaps feeling that it might have merited a yellow card, but he's got away with it.
Well, good foul, what we call that one, in terms of McAllister stopping the attack, but Matoma certainly shifted through the gears there, didn't he? He showed him a clean pair of heels, but McAllister did recover well. Excellent play earlier on from Solly March. That's why he's at that left-back area. He can compete with your likes of Salah and Núñez. There's got a bit of pace.
So free kick for Brighton. Pascal Gross is stood over it with the pitch here. About a third of it is still enjoying this autumnal sunshine. The far side from us, a long strip going from one end to the other. Roberto Deservi and Jurgen Klopp are in the shaded area and are both on the edge of their technical area watching this Brighton free kick, which has been taken short. Pascal Gross goes infield to find Baliba. Baliba has worked it wide to Lewis Dunk, who's up there, and from the byline has hooked it in handily towards João Pedro, whose chest control wasn't ideal, and it just spins beyond the byline for a goal kick.
I think that was meant to be a training ground one, where Pascal Gross and Solly March link up down the left-hand side, but as well sussed out by that Liverpool back line, and then going long for Lewis Dunk, that tried to pull the ball back to Pedro, and it just fizzed into his chest and was hard to control. So still a positive sign from Brighton playing on the front foot. We know, whatever, regardless, and especially games have gone by this season, whatever the scoreline is, they keep going to the very, very end.
Jurgen Klopp, hands on hips with his cap on. Today is the exact 8th anniversary of his appointment as Liverpool manager, their longest serving boss since Bob Paisley, who was there for 9 years between 1975 and 1983. So much sport going on today. The Cricket World Cup getting into full swing. Let's get an update from Simon Mann.
Australia need a set India 200 to win. India are 5 for 3. They've lost Rohit for naught, Ishan Kishan for naught, and Shreyas Iyer for naught. We're in the 4th over, 5 for 3. There's commentary on the BBC Sport website.
As there is for all 3 of today's Rugby World Cup games. One of those has already finished, with Argentina beating Japan by 39 points to 27. Still waiting for the breakthrough at the Amex between Brighton and Hove Albion and Liverpool. Brighton throw left side with just under 20 minutes gone. Matoma trying to steal a march on Joel Matip, who just craned his neck to be able to intercept and prevent the long throw reaching the Japanese. Now it's hammered forwards towards Mo Salah. Haven't really mentioned Mo Salah so far today. Both he and perhaps Evan Ferguson, Karo Matoma, the attacking players, yet to really make any inroads.
No, and then I think that's the positivity of the defensive displays from both teams at the moment. But we know these players that you just mentioned there, they have got the quality, and you give them half a yard or half a second, they can produce a bit of magic.
Good battle between Van Dijk and João Pedro as they jostled each other, as Van Dijk brought it upfield, and he got it to just shy of halfway, and then Luis Diaz was impeded from behind. So Liverpool have got a free kick just inside the Brighton half. Anthony Taylor pointing to Andy Robertson to show him exactly where it should be taken from, and Liverpool have opted to go short with it. Szoboszlai back to Van Dijk. This is just inside the Liverpool half. McAllister closed down by Pascal Gross. Knocks it square to Robertson, and it's back with Virgil van Dijk, and it's walking pace just outside the Liverpool area. Square ball from him to Alisson. Again, no pressure on the ball whatsoever, so just takes a couple of very slow touches, looks up, and then Knocks it square to Van Dijk again.
Again, it's, you know, the ball was just out.
Oh, sloppy from Van Dijk, and Adingra's taken it and gone early, and has scored for Brighton. It's a shocker for Liverpool, and Brighton have the lead. Quick thinking by Simon Adingra to steal possession, and spotting Alisson out of his goal, went for the early finish and pulled it off perfectly. Brighton 1, Liverpool 0.
Well, what a classy finish that is from Adingra. There was no pressure on the ball there at all from that Liverpool back line. Van Dijk in acres of space, about 10 yards outside his box. He passes it to McAllister, who's sleeping. Adingra nicks the ball. He's on the front foot. He anticipates the pass, and then it's all about, can you finish? And Alisson is so far off his line, but he doesn't go to chip him. He sort of curls it low, around about a foot off the ground. It creeps inside the post into the side netting. What a great finish there from Adingra to give Brighton the lead.
Only the second ever goal that the Ivorian has scored for Brighton. Got one 11 minutes after coming on as a sub in the victory against Luton here in August, and now has put Brighton in front against Liverpool. And the first really big prize of Albion from the home fans rings around the Amex, and Roberto De Zerbi is hopping mad on the halfway line, almost on the pitch, as he tries to get a message out to his players. You wouldn't know they've just gone 1-0 up. He looks furious.
No, he's literally getting to concentrate defensively, telling Pascal Gross just to retreat. Adingra to track his running, Robertson, but just going back to that goal, it was, I mean, the replays and the cameras went to McAllister that was sloppy in possession, but it wasn't a great ball from Van Dijk either. You know, it looked like it was a sloppy ball that didn't really give him much chance and much communication on the pass as well.
Luis Diaz moving across to the right-hand side, where he's up against his opposing number 7, Solly March, and Diaz has then knocked it into Caro Matoma. It's going to be a Liverpool corner. Let's quickly go to West Ham and Chris Temple.
West Ham still leading 1-0 through Thomas Soucek, a goal that will have given the Newcastle manager Eddie Howe a cold sweat on a very warm day down there. Horrible defending from Newcastle. Just a moment ago, Bruno Guimaraes lucky to escape a second yellow card in 2 minutes after fouling James Ward-Prowse. Referee Peter Banks gave him the benefit of the doubt. Newcastle could have easily been down to 10 men. They trail West Ham 1-0.
And the home side leading here as well. Brighton with a corner to defend, though, as Robertson whips it in towards the penalty spot area. Up goes Dunk, good strong header from him. Back into the penalty area by Elliott. Up goes Van Dijk. Brighton have scrambled it away, and suddenly Steve Sidwell, the tempo is rising in this game.
Much goals change games there. Adingra, we spoke about it before. It could be a vital battle, him and Robertson. He's just got now a little spring in his step, putting tackles in. That's what confident goals can do to you. Just breeds and gives you so much confidence, not just as an individual, but throughout the team, throughout the whole stadium.
Well, I was here when Brighton beat Liverpool 3-0 in January of... For 2023, Solly March with a double. Danny Welbeck scored as well. Liverpool were pitiful that day. Brighton were brilliant, and Brighton have got the advantage here against the Reds once again. Liverpool deep in their own territory as Matip plays it to Mo Salah, looking to try and feed Elliott. In fact, he bypasses him and was looking to slip Alexander-Arnold in round the back. It was well read by Igor. Brighton coughed up possession inside their own half, though. McAllister and now Mo Salah. Nice quick interplay from Liverpool. Salah's into the area now. Brighton have got plenty back, and Salah has bent it well wide of goal. So let's go to Molineux and Pat Murphy.
It's 0-0 here, stalemate, and at the moment a lot of niggle, particularly between McGinn and Dawson at corners. Rob Jones, the referee, is losing patience. He's spoken to them both several times. I wouldn't at all be surprised if there's a penalty at either end and a yellow card very soon. This continues. Wolves 0, Villa 0.
Thanks, Pat. West Ham leading Newcastle 1-0 in the other 2 o'clock kick-off, and here at the Amex it's Brighton 1, Liverpool 0. Full commentary of Arsenal at home to Manchester City at 4:30 as Brighton now with the wind in their sails after that goal from Adingra. Well brought forwards by Baliba, and the attempted slip pass into João Pedro doesn't come up, but it's suddenly got that basketball game feel. It's end-to-end as Liverpool now come forwards with Diaz on the left flank. He's got Robertson on the overlap. He advances to a few yards outside the area, opted against playing in Robertson, floats it towards Nunez, who's found Mo Salah in the area, gone for goal. He's hit it into his own man, Darwin Núñez. There's cries of handball from the Liverpool fans who are down at the other end of the pitch, but they didn't see that it actually came off Darwin Núñez. But Brighton have lost it. João Pedro in the centre circle. Elliott, 100 miles an hour now. Liverpool still trailing by a goal to nil, and then too much on the pass forwards by Alexander-Arnold safely into the midst of Verbruggen.
Well, far too many turnovers and transition from both teams there, but in them transition it certainly suits Liverpool. We have a little reminder that short spell there, they had from about 5-6 passes, 4 or 5 yards apart. Quick concession. Just in a replay here of Salah's shot, it hit Igor flush in the face, but that's what he's paid to do. But yeah, when the game stretches out and it does open up, it certainly, you feel that it suits Liverpool more in attack rather than Brighton.
So 25 minutes gone. Brighton 1, Liverpool 0. Adingra with the goal. Really good finish from him after Liverpool shot themselves in the foot with Van Dijk playing it to McAllister, who was a bit sleepy. It wasn't a great pass from Van Dijk either, and in nipped Adingra and took advantage of Alisson being off his line with the measured finish. Brighton with Ferguson, who's really been able to do too much. It's been feeding off scraps, the big centre forward, as Dunk now brings it up to just shy of halfway for Brighton with his orange boots and plays it infield to Baliba, who sweeps it across to the left. Solly March now advancing into Mitoma, tight to that left touchline, knocks it infield to a more central position, and March, and De Zerbi again is right at the edge of his technical area, still bellowing at his players. Let's find out the latest in the Manchester City-Chelsea game in the WSL. Tom Gale.
Equaliser for the champions, Mark. Man City 1, Chelsea 1. We're in the 6th minute of added time. It's cruel on City, who are down to 9. They were down to 8 for the corner as a player received medical treatment. Excellent save from the header, but Guru Wrighton squabbled it home to make it Man City 1, Chelsea 1.
Big game in the WSL, that between Manchester City and Chelsea after that thriller on Friday night between Manchester United and Arsenal. Here at the Amex, Pascal Gross has had a dip from the D of the Liverpool box, and it took a deflection to just squirt behind for a corner kick to Brighton. And they've been inventive with their corners so far this afternoon. That early one that was straight off the training ground nearly caught Liverpool cold. Gross is going to deliver it from that left-hand side. Just waits for his teammates to get into the required position, raises an arm to let them know what's coming. It's another training ground routine. Mitoma back to Gross, but Salah nearly took it off his toes. Solly March has it and pokes it towards the far side, and Alexander-Arnold takes no chances with a digger on his shoulder and nudges it behind for another corner.
Yeah, Brighton being very bright again, but Trent Alexander-Arnold just as wary to that as well, covering round, defending well. It's another corner for Brighton, more pressure onto Liverpool, keeping the ball far away from their own goal.
Jurgen Klopp just strutting around, arms folded, looking out at the end of the pitch to his right-hand side, which is where Brighton are taking this corner from. Gross, the German over it, will make it an outswinger with that right boot of his into a good area, and it was well attacked too by Lewis Dunk, but didn't get the contact he was hoping for, nowhere near the Liverpool goal, and the clearance is then tidied up by Adingra, who guides it all the way back to Verbruggen in the Brighton goal.
I think De Zerbi's obviously always constantly on the edge of his technical areas, and I think he's probably just asking for a little bit of calmness now from Brighton. You know, get a bit of structure, get some passes in, the game's getting a little bit loose.
Well, they've tried to play it out from the back again and have almost got themselves into a real pickle, because there are a couple of mishit passes and Verbruggen's ball almost fell straight to Mo Salah. Here is Adingra coming over halfway for Brighton, the crowd on their feet as he looks up and cuts inside with a nice bit of skill, and now feeds it through for Mitoma. Alisson comes out, and Alisson did enough to put him off. He goes over, but that wasn't because of a foul. I think he just lost his footing, but Liverpool were rocking there.
Really good run, first of all from Adingra, cutting inside, and then he was waiting for a run, and he got that from Mitoma from his far side on the left-hand side, running all the way across that Liverpool back line. And Alisson just done enough, didn't he? Didn't claim for a penalty at all. I think he was waiting for contact, didn't get it. Knew he couldn't get up and claim for one, but bright run there from Mitoma.
That's Steve Sidwell with us at the Amex for this bumper 5 Live Premier League Sunday. Brighton 1, Liverpool 0 in the 2 o'clock kickoff. We've got full commentary of West Ham Newcastle on Sports Extra for you at the moment. Wolves against Villa is on the BBC Sport website and live and in full at 4:30 from the Emirates. It is Arsenal against Manchester City. Jurgen Klopp is not a happy man. He's trying to make some points to his players as they've given the ball away once again really cheaply on halfway. Igor sends it backwards of square to Solly March, and down at walking pace he will collect just outside the Brighton box. Sloppy from Liverpool.
It is sloppy, and that is through Brighton being very aggressive, especially that back line, that back four, and the midfield in Believer. They are going man for man so the whole front line from Liverpool cannot get on the ball. I think what Klopp would prefer to do is drop the midfield players in deep, get Harvey Elliott to come drop short as well, leave the 3-for-3 up top and then bypass the midfield, get it into the front three. Can they secure it and then link the rest of the play up there?
And Roberto De Zerbi almost looking like he's in Saturday Night Fever with the amount of movements he's getting out to his players, trying to instruct them where he wants them. And again, it's that risk and reward football with Verbruggen short to Pascal Gross inside the Brighton box. Szoboszlai and Nunez went to close him down, but Brighton have manoeuvred it to get up towards halfway, and it's brought forwards by Believer. Eating up the turf in front of him, Believer. Is he going to have a go at goal? D of the area. This would be some goal. Oh. He pulls his shirt over his head as he drags the effort narrowly wide, but he picked it up deep inside his own half and absolutely strode forwards, got to the D and then hooked it wide to the post. Blimey.
We've just seen there some motion from Jurgen Klopp. He is furious with that Liverpool back line. Tell him to come up to the ball when he's going to strike, but Believer there went through the gears, didn't he? Strided through the centre of the pitch. You think he's going to hit it with his right foot, more than comfortable to come back onto his left. He did have Alisson scuttering across his goal line.
Just tell us, Steve, in case some of the listeners weren't with us earlier, what Roberto De Zerbi was telling you about Believer.
Well, I was down there a few weeks ago at the training ground, and he was just so confident in the way that he was speaking about Believer, and basically was saying that he has got the potential. We've seen a lot of this already in this opening, half an hour, that he is going to be better, or has got the potential to be better than Caicedo, that obviously went for a record fee over to Chelsea. So he believes him that much. I think there's a lot of growing still to do from him, but we've seen some early signs of some brilliance from Believer.
Just over half an hour played. Believer was looking to make it 2-0 to Brighton, who lead through Adingra's well-taken goal after Liverpool were caught in possession just outside their own penalty area. Roberto De Zerbi again is chuntering to himself and to the officials and to anyone who'll listen as he now finally comes and takes his seat. And Jurgen Klopp is now making a point to the fourth official, but I don't think any of the officiating, unlike last weekend, he can have any complaints about, as Matoma brings it out from the sky really nicely on the left flank, goes backwards of square to Solly March, who returns it to Matoma, rolled infield to Ferguson. Ferguson plays it in a triangle with Solly March, and Matoma works it all the way back, although it wasn't a great hit from him, so Igor has to scamper across to retain possession for Brighton. Square to his fellow centre-half Dunk, who's closed down by Szoboszlai, so he opts for his keeper Verbruggen, who collects just inside the D of the area.
They're more than happy to play back Brighton because they want to get Liverpool to come out, expose them the spaces and just wait for them to hit the correct pass at the right time.
Dunk up to halfway, nicely flicked into the feet of Veltman and then poked out by Andy Robertson. 1-0 to Brighton against Liverpool. West Ham also leading at home by a 1-0 against Newcastle. Goalless at Molineux between Wolves and Villa. Those also like this game, 2 o'clock kickoffs. Rangers were 3-0 winners at St Mirren earlier on, and in the WSL, West Ham 2-0 victors away at Brighton. 1-1 between Manchester City and Chelsea at the moment as João Pedro by the corner of the area tries to weave it a pass to the far post where Matoma was coming in. Well watched by Alexander Arnold, who clears, but again Brighton just starting to build up a head of steam once more.
Yeah, real good passage of play here from Brighton. First time there, Pedro just got a bit of time and space away from Van Dijk, that's marked him so close in this opening part of the game, but found a bit of space there to try and get a dangerous ball in.
Ferguson won it back well, but the ball fell to Szoboszlai, and I mentioned that current scoreline between Manchester City and Chelsea in the WSL. It's now full time for Tom Gale.
That's right, Mark. Man City won, Chelsea won. A 96th minute equaliser for the champions denies Man City down to 9. A famous victory. Chloe Kelly's early strike cancelled out by Guru Wrighton, bundling home late on. Lionesses Alex Greenwood and Lauren Hemp both sent off for 2 yellows. Full time, Man City won, Chelsea won.
So all square between the big 4 sides in the WSL this weekend. That draw that Tom was just telling us about in the Friday night game between Arsenal and Manchester United, which ended 2-2. 1-0 to Brighton against Liverpool here with 35 minutes gone at the Amex. And I'd say Brighton, good value for their lead, Steve Sidwell.
Yeah, very good. De Zerbi would be delighted with that, especially after the drubbing that they got last weekend against Aston Villa. So defensively look much more solid. Do play that fine line in terms of possession outside the box, but it's working at the moment.
Elliott took too long as he was aiming to find Mo Salah inside the penalty area, and Brighton got bodies in the way, and Pascal Gross took it off his toes, and it rebounds all the way into the Liverpool half, where Matip has it and plays it square to Van Dijk. Something just not quite right about the way Liverpool are playing so far. They've had a few glimmers, a few moments where they've got into promising positions, but there's not a rhythm about them so far.
No, there isn't. I mean, we can see here Robertson high up on the left-hand side, Darwin Núñez and Diaz. It's kind of a flat 4 right at the top. There's no sort of depth. Now Salah, when he drops in, he's being tightly marked. So it's working in Brighton's favour at the moment, because they are so going man for man. All it takes is one bit of brilliance from Liverpool to escape that man marking, and then you're outnumbered.
Brighton leading Liverpool 1-0, and West Ham were leading Newcastle by a goal to nil the last time we heard from Chris Temple.
And they still are, Mark. Newcastle, to be honest, showing a lot of the signs of the possible hangover that everybody would have warned them against. They fell behind after 8 minutes. Ridiculously easy for West Ham down the left. Nick Pope went walkabout. Emerson took it round him. Souček stroked it in. A contentious moment on the 18-minute mark. Bruno Guimaraes, 2 fouls in the space of 2 minutes. Could easily have been sent off. Only got 1 yellow card. West Ham lead a poor Newcastle 1-0.
And what's happening at Molineux? Pat Murphy.
Tecci is niggly, it's goalless. Dawson and McGinn have both been booked for fouls. Nothing at all to do with the corner problems. Aït-Nouri has just gone close for Wolves. Flicked just past the far post after Kamara lost possession. But it's poor, it's niggly. Wolves 0, Villa 0.
And you can hear commentary of that game on the BBC Sport website, while the West Ham Newcastle match is on Sports Extra for you right now. 7 minutes of the first 45 remaining at the Amex as Solly March gets ready to take this throw in for Brighton. Left back position for the Albion as he again waits and waits for someone to give him an option into Ferguson, who's quickly closed down, and the ball has worked its way towards the centre circle, and Veltman, who goes down under pressure from Darwin Núñez. He's unhappy that the foul has been awarded, and Anthony Taylor gives him that sort of look that a parent gives their child, that disapproving sort of shrug of the shoulders, as if to say, come on mate, that's a foul. Ball taken quickly, João Pedro has suddenly got it, and he's 20 yards out from goal, and just as he was about to pull the trigger, was crunched, and it's going to be a free kick in a very good area for Brighton by the D of the box.
Brighton caught Liverpool napping there, and Pedro, who has looked lively, brought down by McAllister, who's not had the greatest of opening games at this moment. More out of possession, being a bit clumsy, showing a bit of frustration possibly in that tackle, but a real dangerous position to give away a free kick, and Brighton do possess a bit of quality. Lewis Dunk, I've seen him in training that he can hit this kind of Ronaldo wobble dip ball that he does possess, so he's standing over at the moment. You've got Solly March over it as well, so a left and a right foot.
Solly March scored twice in Brighton's 3-0 win against Liverpool here in January. It's he and Dunk who are the two options stood over it at the moment as Anthony Taylor goes to inspect the Liverpool wall. They've got the customary draft excluder in there. There are 2 Brighton players that are aiming to infiltrate that wall of red as Alisson claps his black gloves together and gets an instruction to Andy Robertson about where he wants him standing. Who's going to take it then? 20 yards out, Dunk goes for it and goes for that sort of wobble seam effort, doesn't come off into the wall, breaks for Veltman, edge of the box, wide to Adingra, first time ball in, should be Alisson's, and goes over him but also onto the roof of the net.
Oh, very difficult there for Dunk. I mean, that is the technique that you do need, but I was looking at there, I thought the wall didn't look entirely 10 yards away. Seemed a bit close to me, but the referee Anthony Taylor did walk it out and mark it. But again, that's when you're close to the edge of the box. You do need that sort of up and down technique. But you've got the likes of Van Dijk and Matip, big, huge structures and statures in that wall. It's very difficult to get up and down.
Not a happy 8th anniversary as Liverpool boss so far for Jurgen Klopp, who has had his hands on his hips for almost all of this first half so far. Evan Ferguson going back towards his own goal on the halfway line and finds Dunk, closed down by Elliott. Fizzes it towards halfway, doesn't find a blue and white shirt though, and Szoboszlai quickly forwards to Diaz, who's wriggled in into Darwin Núñez. Elliott lets it run, Salah 1-1. First moments of real quality from Liverpool, and they are back level, and it is Mo Salah who has fired it into the bottom corner. They were so quickly up the pitch there. Great awareness from Elliott to let it run for Salah, and that was a clinical finish from the Egyptian. Liverpool haven't been at their best, but 5 before the break, they are level. Brighton 1, Liverpool 1.
Well, what a marvellous goal that is there, given away cheaply by Brighton, and that is like the red arrows of Liverpool. They have just dissected straight through the middle of the pitch through Brighton. About 5 or 6 passes again, real quick, consecutive, concise passes, and it's very well left there from Harvey Elliott, because Mo Salah's behind him in a great, probably a better position, and he knows what he can possess, so he's got the shout, leave the ball, he does that, and Mo Salah tucks it away in the corner. Great goal there from Liverpool.
Both goals have been very well taken, both though coming after the team that conceded gave the ball away badly. Lewis Dunk was the guilty party there, played it into nobody in a Brighton shirt by the halfway line. Liverpool so quickly onto it and so quickly into the back of the Brighton net. Well, Mo Salah was actually on the longest run of his Liverpool career without scoring in a Premier League away game. He hadn't managed one in his last 7 on the road since getting a double at Leeds in April, but has found the net on his travels for Liverpool this afternoon to make it 1-1 with 4 minutes of the first half to play.
Well, that's what happens when you have a world-class player in the team. You know, he's not really had a kick of the ball in 40 minutes, and then he produces magic like that. But you know, there's no better team than Liverpool is here. When the ball turns over in transition, they just attack at pace and in numbers, and it's just accurate passing that gives them the opportunity to get a shot at goal.
Liverpool fans have not had much to shout about in this game so far. In fact, it's the first time I can really recall them making any noise, and it's off the back of Mo Salah's leveller for them. Alexander-Arnold is now standing over a free kick. Liverpool have just been awarded right side of the pitch, about 15 yards inside the Brighton half. Here is Alexander-Arnold, who's about to take it then for Liverpool in towards the penalty spot region. Darwin Núñez was in there, and Verbruggen has come to make a gather. Well, he was clattered into by Luis Diaz. Both sets of players going over to the referee to complain about something. Jurgen Klopp has his hands on his head as he peers out at the situation. Looked like good keeping to me from Verbruggen.
Yeah, Verbruggen there, very brave. He's one of the ones where the ball comes in. I think Darwin Núñez just gets to head into an area. Both players there, Verbruggen and Diaz there, just trying to get on the ball from both sides. Nothing malicious in it at all.
Still a lovely day here at the Amex. The sun's still shining. They've given possession away here, Brighton, and could be in trouble. Liverpool are asking for a penalty, and Anthony Taylor has given it. Well, we spoke about the risk and reward. The risk there hasn't come off for Brighton. Playing out from the back, having just given away a leveller. They've now conceded a penalty. They have self-destructed inside their own area, and from a goal down, Liverpool will have a penalty to make it 2-1. Steve Sidwell.
Well, again, it's Brighton's undoing it there. The pass isn't really on. Verbruggen passes it into Pascal Gross. I'm not sure. It'd be interesting to see whether the penalty's been given for the one on Pascal Gross, or it's been a believer on the one on Diaz. I'm not sure what one it is.
I think, well, you could take your pick really, because Pascal Gross clearly has a grab of Szoboszlai's shirt as he goes to get the ball. You can see on the replays here he's clearly tugging him back, but as Steve makes the point, Anthony Taylor hadn't blown the whistle at that point, and then Baliba comes in and looks like he cleans out Diaz as well. So take your pick.
Well, when I was watching the decision given, I see Anthony Taylor pointing towards the Baliba incident. Now, whether he's pointing towards that incident or whether he's saying it's where the ball travelled.
You're right,
Pascal
because
Gross.
VAR, I think, well, actually, they're now looking at both of them. Initially, on our screens, the VAR was checking the Baliba one, but
I think you're right. It's probably you could pick either one, couldn't you? Really, but Brighton, you know, they just conceded a goal. You're thinking, you know, I know it's not their style, but you know, you need to clear your lines at some point, get the ball away of the pitch, regroup. Haven't done that.
I mentioned Mo Salah's drought away from home by his standards, anyway. 7 Premier League away games without a goal. He's pulled them back level with one assured crisp finish from round about 12 yards out, and now he's got a penalty from that distance to put Liverpool in front on the stroke of half-time. It's almost bang on 45 minutes as he stands over the ball, and Verbruggen receives a lecture from Anthony Taylor about not trying to use any mind games, and ensures that he's back behind his line. The Brighton fans down in that north stand waving, trying to put Mo Salah off. Takes a few steps back now. It's that curved trademark run-up from Mo Salah. Hands on hips, takes a deep breath as we go into stoppage time, and Salah scores. Excellent penalty. Curled it into the left corner. It was so well struck. You simply do not save those. And Liverpool, who have not been on fire, do find themselves 2-1 up at the break, thanks to Mo Salah's double.
Well, again, Mo Salah been so quiet in this first half, but when called upon, a man that's so reliable in them scenarios, cool, calm, composed, took a deep breath and dispatched it with ease. And Liverpool going at 2-1. What a poor 5 minutes from Brighton to concede 2 goals. Going in, the team talk changes completely now for both sets of managers. Real poor play from Brighton, because they was in control for the majority of this first half.
And the Amex don't like the size of Mo Salah. He's got more goal involvements at this ground than any other visiting player in Premier League history. And Liverpool looking for another here. The game has completely turned around. Nunez chasing after it on this left-hand side, guided home by Veltman, and Brighton need half-time.
Well, Brighton just need to regroup. You know, I don't know why they keep being so expansive. They've just conceded 2 goals in 5 minutes. They've conceded goals all season. Some of them, the majority are probably their own doing, but at times you just need to just get bodies behind the ball, gear up for half-time, get yourself in there, have your team talk, have the analysis done, then come out second half and you go again.
3 minutes of additional time in this first half were signalled. We've played 2 minutes of that. Might be a touch more added on due to the fact that there was that stoppage for the penalty while everything was checked and cleared by VAR. Liverpool then leading 2-1, fell behind to Adingra's goal after Van Dijk gave the ball away, and then took advantage of Brighton giving the ball away themselves to get themselves level with Mo Salah's strike, and then Salah from the spot after Brighton played out from the back and it all went wrong. And we did say, Steve, that was on the cards. They hadn't looked too assured when trying to do that.
No, that's been an area where they have struggled, Brighton, this season, and especially when they play at home. I think the crowd just sense that little bit of disbelief, maybe in confidence in their passes around the goal line.
Matoma back to Pascal Gross for Brighton, who led but are now trailing 2-1. Van Dijk comes across and heaves it forwards. Nunez was looking to make something of it on his right-hand side, and there's boos from some of the home fans here, and Roberto De Zerbi's turning around and giving Graham Scott, the 4th official, an absolute earful.
Well, he's right, because he's offside. Darwin Nunez there is offside. Lewis Duncan's got his hand up. Solid march, heads the ball down. It goes back to a Liverpool player, but the intent was to go into Nunez that was in an offside position.
Alisson for Liverpool. We've played the minimum of 3 additional minutes that was signalled. Liverpool content to just knock the ball around outside their own penalty area, having turned the match around, leading by 2-1.
Liverpool will now just play this half out, but we've seen all the animation, all the passion this first half from De Zerbi on the touchline. So I've been quite surprised in Jurgen Klopp this first half. Very subdued, very calm, and now he's just taking a seat on his own bench.
I think he'll realise Liverpool are fortunate to find themselves in front. Those 2 goals in 5 minutes at the end of this first half, and there is the whistle from Anthony Taylor. Well, real entertainment here at the Amex. Brighton started strongly. Adinga got the opening goal after the error from Virgil van Dijk, which he pounced upon and then steered it low into the bottom corner. Liverpool looked off it but got themselves level. When Dunk gave it away, they were quickly up the pitch and Salah slotted home, and then Mo Salah from the spot to get his second after Brighton got themselves into trouble playing out from the back. At the break then at the Amex, Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Liverpool 2.
Steve Sidwell, I cannot think of a better phrase than the one Mark used in commentary for what we've just seen at the end of that first half. Self-destruct.
Well, you know, for 40 minutes they was in good control of that game, in possession and out of possession, defensively more so than in previous games where De Zerbi would have been over the moon with his team. They'd worked on that real tight man for man, especially at that back line, nullifying everything that Liverpool threw at them, and then that's what's got them in situations this season. Overplay at the back when it's just not on. They keep on doing it as teams have done, and it's not worked in their favour.
And look, I know we spoke about the goalkeeper situation before the game and the fact that, a bit like Mikel Arteta here at the Emirates, Roberto De Zerbi has been rotating goalkeepers. But that won't stop. That discussion won't stop when you see incidents like that with Verbruggen.
No, it won't. And I think it was against Bournemouth, wasn't it, a few weeks ago, that he made a similar mistake in goal. And I think now the fans behind the goal and around are just sort of getting that little moans and groans when it goes back. Listen, they're both very good on the ball. I think I prefer Jason Steele in terms of in possession. I think he possesses a bit more. I think it's a bit more of an effort for Bruggen, but that's obviously why they bought him and they want him to keep doing it. So I'm sure he'll go in there and say, look, just keep doing this. That's the way we play. Doesn't matter about the fans. If they get on your back, then I want you to do this.
Steve, Mark, thank you very much for the time being. Brighton 1, Liverpool 2, half-time at the Amex, of course. Second half commentary to come here on 5 Live. I'm now live at the Emirates ahead of Arsenal versus Manchester City at 4:30. Let's cross the city and get the half-time at the London Stadium. Chris Temple.
West Ham 1, Newcastle 0 after putting 4 past PSG. Newcastle have been very disappointing going forward for the most part. West Ham have only needed 1 shot on target to lead, and it came from their first attack. Thomas Souček stroking in unmarked after Nick Pope went walkabout. Emerson crossed it in, and Souček didn't have a Newcastle player within yards. A talking point on 18 minutes, Bruno Guimaraes, 2 fouls in the space of a couple of minutes, got a yellow for the first, escaped a yellow for the second. That's a talking point which West Ham may look at if they don't win this game. Almiron and Byrne both missing the target with Newcastle's only efforts, but it's a Sunday afternoon that's lacked intensity for the most part. West Ham have the edge by a goal to them.
And you can listen to full commentary of the second half of that match on 5 Sports Extra. You can also do that with Wolves versus Villa via the BBC Sport website and app. Nothing doing, Pat Murphy?
0-0 at half-time. It's fractious, bad-tempered, inadequately refereed. Players queuing up to get opposition players booked. Tone was set after 5 minutes when Villa's Kamara was booked. McGinn and Dawson predictably also so yellow. The occasional outbreak of football amid the bad temper. Splendid low save by Sarr from the Wolves goal to deny Cash early on. Nuri went close for Wolves, a flick just past the post. But we're waiting now for this collection of very good players on both sides actually to start playing some decent football. Villa 0, Wolves 0.
Pat, thank you very much indeed. We're all getting very giddy here in the nation's capital about it being 24 degrees in October. Suspect it might be a little bit warmer in India at the Cricket World Cup. The hosts are playing Australia. Jeff Lemon.
It's absolutely roasting out here. Everybody who's done anything is sweating up a storm out on the field, and some of us watching are as well. India lost 3 wickets before they'd scored a run off the bat. So Ishan Kishan, Rohit Sharma, Shreyas Iyer all out for ducks, with only a couple of extras on the board, and then Virat Kohli was dropped on 12 by Mitchell Marsh. So had they held on to that one, Australia might have been a chance of defending this, but India have just been waiting out the new ball, and they're starting to get a little bit more on top now. They're 33 for 3, Kohli on 18, KL Rahul on 12.
Thank you very much, Jeff. You can listen to commentary of that via the BBC Sport website. In the Women's Super League so far today, it finished Brighton 0, West Ham 2. And Manchester City 1, Chelsea 1. City ending the game with 9 players and Chelsea equalising through Guru Wrighton in the 96th minute. Much more on all of the live sport going on this afternoon, and then second half commentary from the Amex to come after the news with Carl Hartley.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Steve. Israel is battling to regain control of parts of its territory a day after Palestinian militants launched a large-scale attack. The BBC has seen verified footage of gunfighting between the Gaza border and Ashdod in Israel. More than 1,000 people have died in the conflict so far. The government in Israel say 600 Israelis have been killed and 100 have been kidnapped. Officials in Gaza say 370 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli airstrikes. Civilians in towns near the Gaza border are being evacuated by the military as Israel ramps up its offensive. Our Middle East correspondent Yolanda Nell spoke to us on 5 Live about the response from Israel.
They have said that they're going to come down extremely strongly, that Hamas will pay the price. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that Hamas hideouts in the Gaza Strip would be reduced to rubble. We know that there have been 450 targets, according to the Israeli military, that it has gone after. Those have included the homes of some senior Hamas leaders, but also high-rise buildings in Gaza, including one that had all of the main internet providers. That's made it actually harder to get information out of the Gaza Strip. I mean, the hospital that I'm looking at here is very well resourced. Of course, in the Gaza Strip, it's such an impoverished place. The hospitals there are already poorly resourced. Now, Israel has cut off the electricity that it supplies to the Strip, and we know that hospitals there are struggling to cope as the casualties there mount as well.
Residents in Gaza have been told to leave the area. Since last night, around 280 targets have been hit by Israeli airstrikes. Our reporter Rushdie Abdalouf is there.
Since last night, when Israel launched this retaliation operation in Gaza, many areas people were leaving, and we understand from sources in the UN that as many as 22,000 people already left their homes, and now they are taking shelters in a UN school. We have seen this scenario before, as Gaza fought like 4 wars, or Hamas fought 4 wars with Israel in the last 17 years. And Gaza, people in Gaza, they don't have any shelter facilities. So people usually, what they do, they go to the UN school because they believe that UN school is protected by the UN and nobody will hit them there. Also, we notice that people are going to hospitals for the same reason.
Now, organisations are helping people caught up in the conflict. Hindel Kudri is a media officer for the Euromed Human Rights Group in Gaza.
This is not the first time I live an Israeli aggression on Gaza. Like, I have been there like all my life, but like this time it was way different. The explosions never ended. They were targeting residents' houses and people's houses, and they were calling people to flee their homes so they can like bomb them. All night we were trying to find a safe space.
Now, the Israeli embassy in the UK has confirmed that a British citizen, Jake Marlowe, is missing in Israel, while the family of Nathaniel Young, a British-Israeli soldier, have confirmed he's died in the attacks by Hamas yesterday. Questions are now being asked why Israel's intelligence agencies failed to find out that Hamas was preparing yesterday's attacks. The former head of Israel's security services, Mossad, Ephraim Havlevi.
On many of the occasions the last couple of years, although there was tension in the West Bank, they were careful not to directly enter war except in very exceptional circumstances, and only for a very, very short time. So this kind of operation that they launched yesterday was entirely foreign to the way they were behaving up to now.
The Pope has called for an end to the fighting. The UN Security Council to hold an emergency meeting later. You can follow this story on our website, BBC News website. There's also analysis of the details around it as well. Some other stories quickly. The Taliban government in Afghanistan says more than 2,000 people died in yesterday's powerful earthquake in the west of the country. And Labour's party conference is underway in Liverpool as Sir Keir Starmer has laid out his plans to tackle the NHS backlog if the party wins the next general election.
Service!
On BBC iPlayer.
Have you seen my sugar?
Yeah, it's over here, girl.
Oh, definitely not sweet enough. No chance.
A brand new drama starring Vanette Robinson and Stephen Graham.
This is impossible. I need help, please.
Don't worry, I've got it.
No.
It's like working
bunch of school kids.
Calm down!
No, I'm not going to calm down. I've had enough.
What happened last time you lost your temper in the kitchen?
You all used to work for me. If it wasn't for it, I'd still have my own restaurant.
Boiling Point. Watch on BBC iPlayer. This is 5 Live Sport with Steve Crossman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
And it is just starting to feel as big as it really is here at the Emirates ahead of Arsenal versus Manchester City in full-on Premier League Sunday at 4:30. I can see past players of both clubs just down below us doing their media interviews. Samir Nasri is there, former Arsenal and Manchester City midfielder. Kolo Toure I can see just away to our right-hand side as well. Speaking of Manchester City, their women's team playing this afternoon in the WSL drew 1-1 with Chelsea, but finished the game, City, with 9 players after 2 England players, Alex Greenwood and Lauren Hemp, were both sent off. Here's their manager, Gareth Taylor.
I thought we were quality in the opening exchanges. The first 15 minutes felt we were really on the front foot. We scored a brilliant goal. I had a feeling that Chloe was going to score today. I had a feeling that we would overrun them in the first 15 minutes. And then obviously the bit of a game changer is obviously Alex's red card, which changes everything, you know, and it's frustrating. Particularly when we seem to have gone from like here to here all of a sudden on dishing out those yellow cards, and I don't know, I think it's a difficult one to take that, because the girls were magnificent in terms of defending the box, you know, against some very, very good players who play very direct, but I felt we dealt with everything. Unfortunately, at the vital moment, we have Alana off of the pitch at that vital moment, but look, I'm so proud of the players.
A couple of other WSL scores for you. West Ham won 2-0 at Brighton at half-time. It's Tottenham 3, Bristol City 0. Elsewhere, Argentina will play Wales in the Rugby World Cup quarter-finals. They beat Japan 39-27 in Nantes. Fiji only needed a losing bonus point or better against Portugal later to play England in the last 8. Rugby Union Daily Pod every morning on BBC Sounds. There's live text commentary at the moment on the BBC Sport website of the Buffalo Bills against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars leading 8-0 at the moment. On Sports Extra later from 10. Commentary of Philadelphia Eagles at Los Angeles Ram. And just as I look around the Emirates here, you can see many American Arsenal flags. Arsenal Detroit with the stars and stripes in front of me. Arsenal Philadelphia as well. John Murray, correspondent, is with us inside the Emirates.
Hi, Steve.
So I was saying before, John, it's just starting to feel just as big as we know this is today.
Yeah, to follow on the conversation that we had right at the start of the afternoon when we were in the pub together, I've now spoken to a lot of people about who they think might actually fill in the central area for Manchester City today in the absence of Rodri. And I would say Rico Lewis is actually probably the name that's been mentioned most frequently, and I know that he played further forward in the Champions League in Leipzig on Wednesday night. But you know, Bernardo Silva, Foden, possibility of Akanji playing in there, Kovacic, Matheus Nunes, and I think what's interesting is as well, you know, our pictures here in front of us in the commentary position, we see that John Stones is here, even though Pep Guardiola said he was not ready to play, and he was on the bench in the Champions League in midweek, but he's here. And we've also been told that both Saka, yes, but also Martinelli got off the Arsenal team coach. So we'll find out in about 12 minutes.
Yeah, I just noticed that when Gabriel Martinelli walked down the tunnel, there were a couple of Arsenal fans who just sort of crowded around us to look at the monitor to see who was here. They were looking for Saka and they saw him, but they saw Martinelli as well. So we'll get the team news in just under half an hour's time.
Half an hour, that's right. Yes, I don't know where I got that from.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting when it comes. But the point is, what you were just saying there about the City midfield is that it says everything about the importance of Rodri. That it isn't just a straight idea of, okay, he comes out, so X comes in. It spawns an entire debate.
But also, the name that I've not mentioned there is Calvin Phillips in the England squad this week. And he's the man that when Manchester City signed him, the assumption was that, well, if Rodri's not playing, it'll be Calvin Phillips who plays in that role. Yet almost no one has suggested that he will come in, which I think is, I mean, listen, let's see what happens when the team news comes out, because Pep Guardiola, is perfectly capable of pulling a surprise and putting him in the team. But that would be a massive surprise, and I think that's quite damning, actually, when you think of what his situation is at Manchester City.
John, thank you very much for the time being. So I said we've got lots of Premier League legends around us. Peter Schmeichel is going to be with us for commentary here inside the Emirates of Arsenal versus Manchester City at 4:30. Just kicking off right now, the Women's Super League Grand Final between York Valkyrie and Leeds Rhinos. You can listen to that on the BBC Sport website. But as I look at the big screen above us here at the Emirates, I can see and now I can hear that the teams are on their way back out for the second half at the Amex. Brighton and Liverpool with Steve Sidwell and Mark Scott.
Yes, thanks very much indeed, Steve. And just going back to the back end of the first half when Liverpool got themselves in front courtesy of Mo Salah's penalty kick, as Liverpool make a change here with Gravenberch coming on for Elliott. So that's the one alteration at the interval for Liverpool. But just going back to that penalty incident, Steve, Pascal Gross dragged back his man, no attempt to play the ball, no card whatsoever, no yellow, perhaps some would argue it should have been a red, and I just wonder if he goes on to play a big part in this game. Althul, our producer, was saying he would have loved to have been inside the dressing room at half-time to have heard what Roberto De Zerbi came out with, because he was hopping mad throughout the first half when they were in front, let alone after those two really poor goals they gave away.
I mean, as animated and as passionate as he is, I'm sure he's very professional in terms of going in, you know, taking time, calling off, talking to his backroom staff, and then picking the right moments. If he has to go in there and really let them have it, he will do so, or look at the positives. But he's well equipped to do that.
Darwin Núñez trying to release Mo Salah on this right-hand side. I'll run you through the teams in just a minute, but Brighton need to clear from just outside their own box, and Lewis Dunk swivelling evades the challenge of Szoboszlai, and it's back with Verbruggen in the Brighton goal. Out to Solly March on the left side for Albion, into the feet of Pascal Gross, who's wriggled it onto Ferguson, looked offside to me, and now the flag goes up. So this is the Brighton lineup: Verbruggen in goal, March, Dunk, Igor and Veltman across the back, Baliba, João Pedro and Gross in midfield, Matoma and Adingra, who scored the opening goal in this game, either side of Evan Ferguson in attack. Liverpool with Alisson in goal, Robertson, Van Dijk, Matip and Alexander-Arnold are their defence. It's Szoboszlai, McAllister and now Gravenberch in midfield after he came on for Javiello at the break, and Luis Diaz and Mo Salah are supporting Darwin Núñez. Salah with the 2 goals that have turned the match around for Liverpool, trailing by 1, now leading by 2 goals to 1. Any thoughts about Gravenberch coming on at the break then for Elliott?
Well, he's certainly going to have energy, legs in that engine room and pack that midfield area out. Just interesting there to see that we spoke about in the first half that, you know, Liverpool bypassing that midfield, getting into that front three and then working off there. They've just done that straight from the off in this second half.
Darwin Núñez surging into centre field, now knocks it wide to Mo Salah, right side of the box, low flat ball in, collected by Núñez, spins and hits from the D of the area, took a massive deflection, so it's going to spoon out to the right hand side. Solly March has challenged Mo Salah just outside the box, and Salah drops to his knees and wants the free kick. Instead it's the throw to Brighton in their left back area.
Well, De Zerbi, I'm sure whatever was said in that first half-time, that he wanted his team to just regroup, consolidate, produce them defensive moments in that first half that made them look so strong and nullified everything that Liverpool threw at them.
Here is Szoboszlai for Liverpool, and Solly March has challenged him well, and the ball came off Szoboszlai last, so it'll be a Brighton throw. Solly March will take it for Brighton, trailing 2-1 at home to Liverpool. Remember, commentary of Arsenal against Manchester City from 4:30 as Adingra chases a lovely ball over the top. He's into the area, lovely footwork. Adingra, great save. Alisson came flying out, made the angle tight for Adingra, and then got a big hand to it to keep him at bay. Liverpool sliced open there though, and Adingra nearly had his second of the game.
A huge moment early on in his second half there. Alisson's asking for the ball to be kept out. He's just taken a knee. It was a huge save, wasn't it? It was a fantastic ball from Ferguson that got Adingra in. He's on his right foot, he carves back inside on his left. You're asking for that moment of composure there. And again, Alisson saves Liverpool, spreads himself wide. He was creeping at the near post, he saves with his left wrist. He's taken his glove off, so there's could be a bit of an issue here with Alisson's left hand.
Well, you might have been able to hear the collective groans of the Brighton fans when that chance was just shown on the big screens here at the Amex, because it was such a good chance for Brighton to get themselves back on terms 5 minutes into this second half. Lovely pass, good composure from Simon Adingra to cut inside of his man, which gave him the one-on-one chance with Alisson, but top stuff from Alisson to come flying out, made himself big, but then also reacted so quickly and got a strong arm to it. And it was that hand that he made the save with that caused him a bit of bother, but we are back underway now with Dunk for Brighton.
He does look so sharp, doesn't he, Adingra? You know, with the moments in the first half as just as much as his goal, but you feel as though when he gets into his rhythm and his stride in his Premier League, he is going to be one hell of a player.
Brighton have it with Gross, left wing, looked like he was fouled, advantage played. Matoma makes his way into the area, then left the ball behind, and Alexander-Arnold steps in. Matoma closes him down. Alexander-Arnold chips it up to Mo Salah, tight to this near touchline, just down in front of us. Darwin Nunez now, with two Brighton players around him, has managed to come away from both of them. Mo Salah's gone over, wants a free kick. Jurgen Klopp raises his arms to the sky as if to say, why aren't we getting one there? Play continues though, and it's back with Verbruggen. One thing, Steve, you mentioned in the first half about Andy Robertson needing to keep an eye out for Simon Adingra. He didn't there. He was caught out when he got through on goal, and Alisson made the save.
It was a blind-sided run, wasn't it? It was a good run, and it was a good ball there from Ferguson very early, and that's what you've got to do when there's no pressure on the ball.
Ball has dropped to João Pedro in the D of the area here. He's got plenty of red shirts around him. Ferguson goes for goal from 18 yards out and bends it over the top and behind for a goal kick. So 2-1 here to Liverpool. What about at the London Stadium? West Ham, Newcastle and Chris Temple.
7 minutes into the second half, still West Ham leading by that early Thomas Soucek goal to nil. They've just had a chance to make it 2. A diving header in the penalty area from Edson Alvarez, flashing past the left-hand post. Newcastle still haven't really got going in this game. They trail at West Ham 1-0.
Ball out from the back by Alisson, and this time Liverpool almost guilty of giving it away in a bad area. It's up towards Diaz, who goes over after a challenge from behind by Veltman, and this time Liverpool get the free kick that they feel that they are overdue.
Yeah, it's been an opening 5-6 minutes, a bit scrappy from both teams, sort of in terms of in possession, no real control from either team, so both settling to find their feet, find their own patterns of play.
Liverpool have actually only won one of the last 6 Premier League games between the clubs, having won all of the first 6 meetings in the division. Ahead here by 2-1 as Matoma is accused of leaving something in on Joel Matip. And Anthony Taylor, after a bit of a delay, has blown the whistle. Klopp and De Zerbi go and speak to each other, but it's all very friendly in front of the 4th official, Graham Scott. No disagreement there between the two managers as Matip now slaps the hand of Matoma. They've made up as well. Liverpool free kick.
Yeah, nothing from now at all. Matoma, his first touch just got away from him. Matip read it well, cleared the ball. No, Matoma didn't leave a leg in at all. It was just 2 players coming together.
Matip on his feet now, and a few boos from the home fans as he shuffles it back to Alisson into the feet of McAllister. Now Matip again has it. This is all still deep in the Liverpool half. Liverpool who are leading by 2-1, and there's been a goal in the game at Molineux for Pat Murphy.
It's a goal for Wolves, and it's made by Pedro Neto, who at last got the ball, at last showed his speed, squared it across, stabbed in by Hwang. That's his 5th goal in 8 games for Wolves.
Szoboszlai across here for Liverpool.
We might get some football. Wolves 1, Villa 0.
Szoboszlai with a ball into the area for Liverpool here, and Gravenberch has hit the frame of the goal from close range. Liverpool inches away from going 3-1 up, but are still down towards the Brighton penalty area at the moment. It's Alexander-Arnold into Salah. First chance in the second half went Liverpool's way, didn't quite creep in to extend their advantage. Now suddenly the game raises in tempo once again. João Pedro up towards halfway, in towards Adingra. Robertson's come short to try and cut him off, but has done enough to win the ball off him. Brighton feel that he was dragged back by Robertson, didn't get the free kick. Gross has now charged the ball down in centre field. It's broken for Ferguson, 25 yards out from goal. Adingra now scoops it wide to the left. Matoma has a bit of space to work with as well. Into the box now. Matoma should really have had a run at his man. He's so good at dribbling, but opted for the safer option, and Brighton have coughed up possession.
Yeah, Matoma just looks just slightly off it. I don't know if there's a bit of fatigue there from these games that have been building up, but doesn't seem to have the normal energy that he's got. But
this game is just opened up there, and Brighton wrote their luck.
March now towards the area, into the box, and Matip has done well to stand tall and then make the block, but March has picked his pocket and got in at the byline. Brighton fans on their feet applauding that, and also applauding the fact that March has won the corner by knocking it against Matip.
Yeah, Matip there knows what he needs to do there, just clear the lines, although there was nobody up the pitch. Just relieve danger. Just look at the replay now. There's that sort of inside right channel there. Sorry, inside left channel where Brighton have been found guilty so far this season, and Gravenberch could really have put more misery on Brighton there.
Should have been another goal for Liverpool here. There has been another goal at Molineux. Pat Murphy.
Equaliser for Villa from their centre-back, Pau Torres. A little dink cross to the far post, and he wasn't really picked up. Side-footed in with his left foot. It's Wolves 1, Villa 1.
Thanks, Pat. So all square between Wolves and Villa. And Liverpool leading Brighton 2-1, should have been 3-1. Just seeing those replays of that Gravenberch chance, it's an open goal for him, 6 yards out. Yes, it does bounce in front of him, which makes it a little bit awkward, but you've got to be scoring those, haven't you?
You have. I mean, the ball flashes through the 6-yard box, and I think he's more concentrating on just getting a good, clean purchase on the ball, which he does, probably too clean, if that makes sense, and rattles the crossbar. It was an area where Brighton have just conceded a lot of goals in this left-back area. Balls being fed in against Aston Villa. Away in Europe at Marseille was the same. Just getting blindsided, running between the full-back and the left-sided centre-half.
Well, Roberto De Zerbi, as I said earlier, apologised in his programme notes for the performance at Villa. He, though, praised their performance in the Europa League against Marseille in the week when they fought back from 2 down to earn their first ever point in European competition. He spoke about the resolve, the character to dig in and find a way back into the game. That's what he's looking for from his side here, who are trailing 2-1 as we go past the 56th minute of the game. And now Mo Salah has committed an infringement, and Brighton have got themselves a free kick, which Solly March will take.
Taking it quickly to Matoma.
Matoma now one-on-one with Szoboszlai. Stood up by Szoboszlai. It's Gross by the edge of the area. Pascal Gross has got the overlap from Solly March on the left. Here he is now. March's ball in. It's good. First time delivery. Robertson underneath it for Liverpool, who clear it away as far as the D of the box. They're a bit panicked from Liverpool at the moment, and Brighton can build again. Adingra, beautiful footwork, charging into the area and still going. Gets to the byline. Robertson's there. Robertson has managed to do enough. The Brighton fans down there screaming for handball, as are some of the supporters in front of us. Nothing given by Anthony Taylor. Liverpool come up towards halfway, leading 2-1 Liverpool. Gravenberch infield to McAllister. It slows down now, and the boos from the home fans start to ring out, who feel that there was infringement in there. Let's quickly go to Chris Temple to find out about a goal at West Ham.
And it's a goal at the moment for Newcastle, an equaliser from Alexander Isak. We're just checking offside at the moment from the initial ball in from the free kick. Isak in what looks a very, very close position. The ball actually came ultimately off the head of West Ham's Edson Alvarez, which played in Isak in the 6-yard box. He finished it beyond Areola. At the moment, we're still waiting for the decision. West Ham 1, Newcastle 1, as it stands, pending this VAR check.
OK, we'll keep you up to date with whether that leveller for Newcastle does count or not. Look as though VAR were at all interested in those Brighton appeals for a handball just now, Steve.
No, Adingra showing that explosiveness that he's got to the byline. He knows that Robertson's going to slide early and try and block the cross. It looks as though he probably tried to cut back and maybe hit the midriff of Robertson that was on the floor.
That goal for Newcastle stands, so it is 1-1 now at the London Stadium between West Ham and Newcastle. That game is live on Sports Extra for you now, and the BBC Sport website is where you can find commentary of Wolves Villa, which is also all square at 1-1. Liverpool 2-1 up. Salah has it and goes infield to find Szoboszlai. Nice 1-2 between him and Salah, who's darting to the byline. Solly marches across there to hold him up and has done well just to ensure that he can't make any further progress. And he's got support back there from Baliba as well, and Liverpool have been squeezed back to halfway and actually all the way back into their own half, and Alisson. So Brighton have done well to force Liverpool back. Arsenal against Manchester City at 4:30. Team news will be coming from there very shortly as Salah sends it down the line for Darwin Núñez to chase. Núñez down by the corner flag for Liverpool, held up briefly by the challenge of Igor, and Igor ensures that it's back with Salah. And again, it's a good squeeze by Brighton. They've managed to close down the space and Liverpool retreat to halfway.
It is, and again, Igor following Nunez all over the park. Now obviously Liverpool have good possession on their own half. But he's still close, he's marking him tightly, isn't he? He's like literally not letting him out of his sight.
Matip with a good piece of running here and still going as he gets towards the D of the area. In the end, enough blue and white shirts back there to just crowd him out. The ball rebounds to the halfway line, and Danny Welbeck is going to come on here for Brighton. Roberto De Zerbi is holding the ball at the moment because it's going to be a throw-in. But Evan Ferguson, who hasn't really been able to make his presence felt today, is the player who is going to go off, and Welbeck is on for him.
Well, Evan Ferguson has been quiet today. The normal, you've got to remember, he is still young, he is still learning. So he's going to have moments of games like this that can't always be positive, but that's the positive for Brighton, that they have got someone like Welbeck on the bench or Ansu Fati that they can bring on that possesses that quality.
Danny Welbeck's one goal this season coming at Old Trafford in that fine win for Brighton against Manchester United last month. Alisson in the D of his box under no pressure can pick out Alexis McAllister by the centre circle. He goes wide to Robertson on the left, back to McAllister again now. Liverpool in possession with Luis Diaz. Brighton again putting the squeeze on, so they're back to just outside their own box here, Liverpool. Van Dijk now with a big swing up towards Nunez, not near enough to him. Igor steps in, now it's Mitoma. Lovely footwork to get away from one challenge, but then Alexander-Arnold steps in and now has the ball and is over halfway and is looking to slip Mo Salah through. And Salah just caught in his heels a bit there. I think if he knew the ball was coming, he was in business.
Yeah, I mean, the ball was correct here. I think Salah thought he was going to be played down the wide areas on the blind side of Solly March, not through the centre of the pitch. So a little bit of miscommunication there, but a sign to show that they are on the front foot.
Already one goal in the second half at the London Stadium for Chris Temple. Has there been another?
There has, and it's another for Alexander Isak and for Newcastle, who've spun this game on its head in the space of 3 or 4 minutes. Kieran Trippier cushioning a ball across the 6-yard box. 3 West Ham defenders standing looking at each other. Isak ghosted in, 2-1 Newcastle.
Meanwhile, Brighton are about to make another change. This one looks like it's in force, though, because Danny Welbeck had just come on for Evan Ferguson, and Paul Van Hecker is about to step in here. Concern amongst the Brighton medical team as well here, Steve Sidwell.
Well, they've had a lot of games, haven't they? They have rotated. One thing they don't want is players to start picking up injuries. But I know that the Brighton manager and the staff, they do like Van Heck. They call him JP around here for short. So he'll come in, knows what to do alongside Lewis Dunk. Be interesting to see if Lewis Dunk just switches to go back to his normal left-sided centre-half role and Van Heck goes on to the right-hand side. We'll see that one.
Now, off comes Igor, and on is Van Hecker for Brighton then. Doesn't look happy, shaking the head, gets a handshake from Roberto De Zerbi as he heads down to take his place on the bench. Well, we've got this break in play. Let's find out the latest from Molineux and Pat Murphy.
It's still Wolves 1 and Villa 1. Villa will be delighted that they got back on level terms just after Hwang got the first goal. Good work by Watkins, flicked it across, and at the far post there was Torres, a defender, to steer it in. The danger now for Villa, the game opening up now, the pace of Neto could be decisive. He's seen more of the ball in this second half than he did in the first. Wolves 0, Villa 0. Wolves 1, Villa 1. Sorry, Chris.
1-1 then between Wolves and Villa, and 2-1 for Newcastle away at West Ham at the moment. And the team news will be coming in from the Emirates in about 7 minutes' time. John Murray will bring us that. He's alongside Peter Schmeichel for full commentary on 5 Live's Premier League Sunday. And this perhaps the appetizer before the main course. It's been a tasty one as well. Liverpool 2-1 up as Gravenberch goes over in the centre circle. Just past the hour mark here.
Really good take there from Gravenberch. Brighton went to go direct from Lewis Dunk, headed down from Matip, and Liverpool on their toes, just get on the second balls on the knockdowns.
Nice drop at the shoulder by McAllister to get away from Pascal Gross, and then gets towards the edge of the area into Salah. Now back to McAllister. Good move this from Liverpool. The cutback wasn't great. Nunez has recycled it. Salah corner of the area, has to go back to Alexander-Arnold. Mitoma comes across, but doesn't really close him down with any intensity. The ball breaks for Mitoma here, but again his touch lets him down, and there's been a few Brighton players that have been a bit off it. Karim Mitoma, who's normally got the ball glued to his feet, has let the ball run away from him a number of times, and Liverpool now have it with McAllister. Szoboszlai feeding Gravenberch, who looks sharp inside the area, goes for goal and didn't really catch hold of it, but he's made a big impact since coming on, Gravenberch, and Jurgen Klopp stands at the edge of his box and applauds over his head.
Yes, and that's why he's on this pitch, to try and get on the ball, make forward runs, which is what he's doing there, testing that back line and midfield of Brighton. But just going back on Mitoma, you're right, even his body language today just seems a little bit subdued for himself. Normally he's really explosive and vibrant, tries to get on the ball. He's been today sort of waiting for that ball. He's been more reactive than proactive.
That's Steve Sidwell with us on Five Live's Premier League Sunday, watching Brighton against Liverpool, where with 65 minutes gone, Liverpool lead 2-1 and are on the move again here. Mo Salah, 20 yards out from goal, scampers away from Pascal Gross, and then finds Solly March blocking the route towards Verbruggen's goal, and he will settle for a throw in the end, Mo Salah, after Solly March shackled him all the way.
Well, that comes in not so much from poor play from Brighton, but reading the game really well from Gravenberch there, doing them hard yards, doing that dirty work, setting up that attack for that explosive Liverpool front line to attack Brighton's goal.
So it's been a lively second half here, likewise at Molineux for Pat Murphy.
It's 1-1 still, but Villa thought they might be down to 10 men a moment ago. Douglas Luiz, the game was stopped by referee Rob Jones, checked for a possible red card courtesy of VAR, typical of this fractious match, but Luiz survived. Only 4 bookings so far, which is a surprise. It's still Wolves 1, Villa 1, Mark.
And there's full commentary of that game on the BBC Sport website, and on Sports Extra you can hear commentary of West Ham against Newcastle as Mitoma chases a ball over the top, and he would have been through one-on-one with the keeper had Alexander-Arnold not stuck out a leg and made a vital interception.
Well, that was the run that we're all looking for in this ground. Mitoma in behind, but what an interception there from Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's stretching off his left hamstring, because that was that full tilt, sort of go gadget leg there to stop the ball.
Oh, now Dominic Szoboszlai has clattered into his man right down in front of the Brighton bench, and they didn't like that at all, and Anthony Taylor very quickly comes across to dish out what I make the first yellow card of the game midway through this second half for Dominic Szoboszlai.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's one of the ones where Szoboszlai there goes in for the tackle, and it's more the follow through, but not through stud showing or high foot, more through his body momentum rolling over the ball that caught Solly March. And yeah, I mean, I'm one of them players that was physical on the pitch, and that's why I say I can't play in these day no more.
You secretly enjoyed that challenge by Szoboszlai, didn't you? Van Hecke for Brighton, who are looking to try and force a leveller in this game, a game that they led and looked good in the first half until self-destructing with the 2 goals that they really gifted Liverpool, who could have had a third in this second half. Gravenberch hitting the crossbar from close range. Alexander-Arnold in the centre circle, into McAllister, through the middle for Andy Robertson, who's up there in the centre forward area. Szoboszlai now works it wide, plenty of red in there. Luis Diaz going for goal and firing wide of target. Well, that perhaps would have settled it for Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp thought it might have been in, and then swiveled away in disappointment.
Well, really good build-up play from Liverpool, patient, and again dissected straight through the middle of that Brighton team. And it's where Diaz needs to go across goal. His strike is a clean strike, but goes for the near post very selfishly. One of the ones where if you go across goal, someone else has got a chance to get on the end of it.
Alexander-Arnold has it for Liverpool, right back position, floated towards Nunez, and Van Hecke knew that he wasn't going to get there, so ducked under it and allowed it to go through to Verbruggen. Well, both managers are being very colourful in their instructions to their players. Jurgen Klopp this time is the one who is hopping around, almost bunny hopping at the edge of his box as he gets a message to Joel Matip, who I don't think quite knew what his manager was asking.
Well, I think it was more for Trent Alexander to give the ball away there, and it's one of the ones where you can hear him behind, and I've been on that pitch where the manager's screaming at you, and you know you can hear him, but you don't want to turn around.
Pascal Gross for Brighton. Still a bit of intrigue as to how he avoided a red card in the first half for the tug back on Szoboszlai. Didn't even get a yellow. The only yellow so far going to Dominic Szoboszlai just now for the challenge on March. Here come Brighton, with João Pedro trying to get the wrong side of Matip, and Matoma's there. Oh, was that a handball from Van Dijk? From here, it certainly looked like it. Anthony Taylor hasn't given anything. Brighton fans all on their feet around us. VAR will certainly have a look at that. Well, from here, Van Dijk looked like he stuck out a hand, although Steve Sidwell's tapping his thigh next to me.
I mean, it was a poor shot from Matoma. It wasn't even going goal-bound. To me, it looked like he hit the thigh first and then onto the arm.
Roberto De Zerbi's got his iPad out and is looking at the incident at the moment. Brighton coming forwards, though, with Matoma. Ball has bounced favourably inside the area. Dingra's there. Van Dijk sends it behind. Anthony Taylor isn't making any kind of symbol for a delay in play. Roberto De Zerbi is bellowing at Graham Scott, the fourth official, and I think he's going to get himself...
The crowd are thinking that's going to be a VAR.
I think the crowd are thinking he's coming to check the monitor, but I think he's coming to book Roberto De Zerbi here instead. Certainly, that is what it looks like, as he's not made the TV symbol, Anthony Taylor. So De Zerbi is going to get a ticking off, and I think a yellow card here. Anthony Taylor's got his hand in his pocket and indeed brings out the yellow card for the Brighton boss, but there is no VAR check, and he is still going at it. Needs to be careful here, or he's going to get a red, De Zerbi.
I think it's one of them. No doubt that he hits the arm of Van Dijk, but I think two things is a big factor in this. It hits the thigh first, and then goes onto the arm, and it was very, very close to Van Dijk.
Well, De Zerbi and Klopp are now going at it, and the Brighton coaching staff getting involved. They offered the iPad across to the Liverpool boss so he could take a look at it. In comes the corner anyway. Alisson fisted away, bubbling up nicely here at the Amex with 20 minutes of the 90 left to play. Liverpool still leading by 2-1. The big one to come. Arsenal against Manchester City at the Emirates, and the team news comes from John Murray.
Well, Bukayo Saka has not made it for Arsenal. He is not in the 20, out with the injury that he picked up in midweek. So Arsenal makes 3 changes from that match in the Champions League. Nketiah comes back in. Jorginho gets his first Premier League start of the season with Havertz on the bench, and White is in for Tomiyasu at right back. But also Martinelli returns. He is among the Arsenal substitutes, having recovered from injury. 3 changes for Manchester City, 2 from midweek from the Champions League. With Rodri suspended domestically again, it does look like Rico Lewis will play that role today. So the 3 changes: Ake, Kovacic and Alvarez coming in for Rodri, but also Grealish and Akanji, who are both on the bench.
Thanks very much, John, who will be alongside Peter Schmeichel for commentary of Arsenal against Manchester City in an hour's time. Meanwhile, Liverpool are bringing on Konate here, and I think that Jurgen Klopp wants to try and reassert some control, and Joel Matip, who was receiving an earful from him, is the player who's coming off.
He's coming off, but Konate's due to come on the pitch, and his little pep talk to him. He was beating his chest, as we see Jurgen Klopp do many times, like Tarzan, making sure that he comes on and he's ready for this game, ready to concede no more goals, and let his team come away with a really important victory.
So Konate comes on. We're hearing that the reason that Pascal Gross didn't pick up a red card for that tug-back on Dominic Szoboszlai is that the officials in the VAR room didn't see it as a clear goal-scoring opportunity. Could have fooled me.
No, I think the ball was going square, or whether it was... Sorry, I thought there was going to be a tag there for Brighton. The ball was going square away from goal, so whether that's a factor or not, but he still felt like he was in control of the ball.
Yeah. And Nunez chasing one over the top here as Verbruggen just about deals with it. Dunk sends it back to Verbruggen, who's under pressure, and they've worked it out from the back, and Dunk has knocked it infield, so we can get an update from Chris Temple at West Ham.
17 minutes to go, still West Ham 1, Newcastle 2, but Alexander Isak, the width of a post away from a hat-trick there, rounding Areola in the West Ham goal. Off balance, his left-footed shot hit the outside of the post. Newcastle, though, enjoying the best of this second half, and look, the more likely to put this game to bed. 2-1 they lead.
Also a 2 o'clock kick-off at Molineux for Pat Murphy.
It's still 1-1, Wolves Villa. Neto for Wolves, becoming more and more influential with his pace and trickery down the right. He thought he had a penalty when he was brought down. Absolutely furious when the referee said no. Game's opening up now. Wolves 1, Villa 1.
Commentary of that one on the BBC Sport website. Sports Extra for commentary of West Ham against Newcastle. All the goals from the games today on Match of the Day 2 tonight, as Robertson goes wide left and gets it in towards Nunez by the penalty spot. Got up well, couldn't control the header. Goes a long way over the top.
Dangerous ball there from Robertson, but again, far too easy for Liverpool to dissect
through the middle, through the spine of this Brighton team. The gaps are there too big. They're far too easy for Roberto De Zerbi's team to be carved open, and it gives opportunities for Liverpool.
Well, the ball came off Van Dijk's leg onto his arm, but then again, you saw the penalty in the, was it Luton Wolves game, where it was still given despite that?
Yeah, I think the factor for me was it was so close. I mean, it could have been, what, 2 or 3 yards. The strike happened, and it clearly come off the thigh and then onto the arm of Van Dijk. It was going miles wide as well, but that's a factor. But it didn't even go to the AR.
15 minutes to play at the Amex. Brighton 1, Liverpool 2. Cracking watch this, and Liverpool heading for the 3 points. Van Hecke, one of the Brighton substitutes, has it on halfway. Look a bit hesitant in possession, looking for that out ball to release the Dingra around the back of Robertson, but too much juice on it all the way through to Alisson.
Not really seeing Brighton players warming up. Ansu Fati and Billy Gilmore are, but they might get a shout to come on and just try and get back into this game, where Ansu Fati has definitely got a spark in him to create something to get this Brighton side going.
They came into this weekend as top scorers in the Premier League, Brighton, but also with the 4th worst defence in the division as well. And that has been the pattern of the game. They've had their openings, but have also looked a bit shaky, conceded 2, could have conceded a 3rd as well when Gravenberch hit the crossbar in the second half, but still have a chance of getting something from this game.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything that they've continued from last season, it's been able to score goals, but the clean sheets have been few and far between. They've done so well last season defensively, but this season has certainly been a big worry and a big concern.
Van Hecke for Brighton comes out of his penalty area, square pass to Lewis Dunk. Dunk in towards Solly March. This is on the left side of the pitch, just in front of Jurgen Klopp. And now Matoma back towards Solly March, overhit it, and he's fortunate that Believer was wise to the danger and got there ahead of Darwin Nunez. And another Liverpool defender is going to come on. We've seen Kanate introduced, and now Joe Gomez is receiving instructions from Pep Linders ahead of his introduction. Adingra now searching towards the Liverpool area. Robertson's there to try and deal with him, and did enough to just force him into a wild cross that was too high for anyone in Brighton blue and white, and it sails out for a throw to Liverpool in their right back position.
It's just lacking that final bit of quality on that final ball, Adingra, but certainly gets in positions where he can shift. He loves that sort of scissor moves and get to that byline. It's just, can he stand that ball up at the far post or find a Brighton player in the box?
Who's for Alexander Arnold, who's taking his sweet time over this throw for Liverpool, aiming for Mo Salah, who felt he was tugged back by Solly March. Anthony Taylor didn't. This is Solly March on the left side for Brighton, deep inside the Liverpool half. And he gets past Mo Salah, and then he's shoved off it by Kanate. The Liverpool contest why that was given, and the challenge on Salah wasn't, but it was a pretty blatant shove from Kanate to send Solly March to ground.
Yeah, it was. You know, positive play from Solly March. Didn't really have a pass on, so decided to pick the ball up and drive at that Liverpool defence, see an opening, burst through that and was brought down. So again, a dangerous position. Pascal Gross, we know the quality that he's got. Can he put it in the area? It has to be Brighton players attacking that area. Can they just leave their man, even if it's just half a yard, get ahead of their marker, any sort of touch, go goalwards towards Liverpool's goal.
12 minutes of the 90 left to play. Brighton looking for an equaliser. March is over it. Will it be his delivery? Left-footed, it is. Into water, good area, it's in! Is it Lewis Dunk who's got the leveller? Brighton are back on terms, and it is Lewis Dunk who has slammed it into the back of the Liverpool net. Ball in from Solly March, and Dunk has done the business.
Well, you know, what I said was about quality into the box, and it certainly was this time from Solly March. But I can tell you now, if they even look at the replay, Lewis Dunk doesn't even realise it's going to come to him. He's definitely onside. Robertson leaves it, it goes past McAllister, and Lewis Dunk is just there. He hits his kind of calf or knee and goes in. Solly March with a left foot, he's just got to put it into an area. I said any kind of touch can go towards Alisson and that Liverpool goal. And Lewis Dunk sees it at the very, very last millisecond. He just sticks a leg out and it goes in. The camera view pans on Robertson. He's disgusted with
Allison, because he's saying you've got to claim that, you've got to come out, but the quality of the ball, he can't.
Well, I think that Andy Robertson perhaps is guilty of pulling away from the ball as it was coming in. He left it expecting his keeper to deal with it, but actually, if he'd made the clearance, it wouldn't have reached Lewis Dunk, so it's another error that's led to a goal.
It is, and he's one of the ones where as a defender, you're a bit worried, you're a bit scared. If you do stick out a leg to try and clear it, it can go goalwards. The factor of that is the pace of the ball. Solly March whips in with so much pace. When it's a little bit slower, you've got more time to think. Robertson there left it, he didn't want to touch it because he thought it could deflect goalwards, and there'd be an own goal for him.
So Brighton are level, 2-2 at the Amex, 10 minutes of the 90 left to play. Thriller here. What about at Molineux and Pat Murphy?
Still 1-1. It should be 2-1 to Wolves just now. Very swift, sleek move down the left. Hwang to the substitute Kalajic. Lovely ball across the face of the goal. Neto stole a couple of yards, 6 yards out, put it over the bar. Wolves 1, Villa 1.
Closing stages at the London Stadium as well. Chris Temple.
Into the last 10 minutes, still Newcastle turning it round to lead by 2-1 after Souček had put West Ham ahead early on. A brace for Alexander Isak, 3 minutes apart. He hit the post then for a hat-trick as well. Newcastle, though, coming under a bit of defensive pressure now into the last 10 minutes. They lead 2-1.
So all of those games, 2 o'clock kickoffs at 4:30. It's Arsenal against Manchester City. No Bukayo Saka for Arsenal. John Murray and Peter Schmeichel will bring you commentary of that. Brighton sense that they might be able to nick the winner here. Mitoma on the left side. 2 Liverpool players across to deal with him. Gets it into João Pedro through the legs of Gomez, but he's recovered to make the clearance. Although he's given it straight to Mitoma. Crossing position from the left. McAllister closes him down. João Pedro in towards Pascal Gross, and João Pedro stripped by McAllister just outside the area. I think that's going to be a yellow card for the former Brighton man. Anthony Taylor hasn't gone to his pocket as of yet. I don't think he is going to get out a yellow, but to me, that seemed pretty cynical from Alexis McAllister, and he's fortunate to get away without a booking.
Yeah, he's done a couple of them this afternoon. Alexis McAllister, I think he's been fortunate not to get booked here. He's kind of summed up his afternoon. He's not had a great return back to the Amex. But like I said, first half, this Brighton team doesn't know when they'll be. Sometimes to their detriment, they can leave themselves expansive and concede more goals, but in terms of scoring goals, they'll keep on going, regardless of what the scoreline is.
Free kick for Brighton in pretty much the same position they scored their equaliser from to make it 2-2. And Solly March again is very much interested in putting this one into the box. I'm sure that Andy Robertson this time will make the clearance if it comes his way.
Maybe a bit of kidology coming on here, because Pascal Gross is looking towards the Brighton players in the box and he's pointing to his chest saying, it's going to be me, it's going to be me, so we'll see.
Could be the double bluff then. Solly March provided the assist from this possession a few minutes ago to make it 2-2. Pascal Gross, though, could go for the in-swinger with his right peg. What's it going to be then? The 2 players are over it. Salah's the one Liverpool player in the wall, and it is Pascal Gross who goes for the in-swing and somehow manages to pick out Mo Salah. It was only a one-man wall and he classes it against him for a corner.
I think he's gone for the shot there, hasn't he? He's gone to fool everyone there, saying it's going to be me, I'm going to put it in the box and go for a cross. Tries to whip it to that near post.
Super climax here at the Amex. 2-2 as Mitoma gets the short corner and tries to skip away from Gravenberch with that little feint that we've got accustomed to seeing from the Japanese. Now goes down the line towards Solly March, and that come off Robertson last. It's kept in anyway by Andy Robertson. Gravenberch to Salah, and Liverpool tried to get upfield, and Baliba had Szoboszlai on his shoulder, knew about it though, and guides it back to Verbruggen in the Brighton goal. Out from the back from Verbruggen in towards Lewis Dunk, and now Baliba skips away from Luis Diaz, comes in field. Salah tries to close him down. The Brighton fans like that though. Good positive play, and now feels that they've got the wind in their sails, and if there is going to be a winner, it's going to be Brighton. Veltman, right flank, held up by Gravenberch. Down the line, and Joe Gomez has been given the slip by Adingra, and Welbeck's waiting. João Pedro should have won it. Over the bar, 10 yards out. First time side-footed finish. Has to score from there. Puts his hands on his head. He knows that was a golden chance.
It was the chance, wasn't it? It was, again, real good attacking play from down that right-hand side of Adingra, and it's one of the balls where, when it comes in as a striker, you see it and it takes an eternity to come to you. I'm sitting here thinking, just put a side foot pass on it, but when you can see it for so long, it plays tricks on your mind and it goes over the bar.
Missed opportunity for João Pedro. Just thinking back to that missed chance for Ryan Gravenberch as well, which would have made it 3-1 to Liverpool, but he hit the crossbar from close range, and now it's 2-2, but Darwin Núñez has it inside the area. Plenty of blue and white block his route to goal, so he has to go back to McAllister, and then McAllister's pass is intercepted inadvertently by Anthony Taylor, so there will be a drop ball. It'll be uncontested. Danny Welbeck told to retreat, so drop ball, which McAllister has, but Brighton obviously have reset now, so the momentum that Liverpool had from that attack has dissipated somewhat. It is Robertson on the left for Liverpool with 5 minutes of the 90 left to play.
Well, with 5 minutes of the 90, we're at 2-2. This just goes to show the mindset of Brighton. Ansu Fati is coming on rather than bringing on a defender to maybe shore up and have a good point at home against Liverpool. No, they want to go for the win. They can feel in this stadium that they can get the win.
It has been a seesaw game with both sides enjoying periods of dominance, but it's Brighton's time at the moment as they look to try and complete their own comeback and win the game. Robertson, though, forwards for Liverpool, towards the far post. Salah was waiting, but Verbruggen with a good claim, came a long way, edge of his 6-yard box and dived forwards to stop it, reaching Mo Salah, who was looking for his hat-trick. Pascal Gross for Brighton, up towards Mitoma, who's away from Gomez. Mitoma left wing, Liverpool have got bodies back. Mitoma, though, surges forwards, and Gomez from behind is going to take the yellow card. Cynical foul, tactical foul, had to do it though, because otherwise Mitoma might have been one-on-one.
Well, it's been one of the very few times in this game that we've seen a real bit of intensity. You know, they've upped the pace, Brighton, and when they do that, they can attack teams. We've seen them carve open many teams in the Premier League over the years, but this is, you know, an attack where they can see themselves getting on this score sheet.
Well, the Brighton fans sing, he's just too good for you, serenading Mitoma for that weaving run that led to the foul, which has given Brighton this free kick in the last few minutes of normal time, with the scores level at 2-2. And again, it's that Deadpool pair for Brighton, Pascal Gross and Solly March, who have stood over it. It'll be perhaps more inviting for a Shaky goal than the previous one that Gross tried to have a dip with from wide, because it's more central, left of centre, but it is going to be March with a dinked ball in. Good looking one as well. Welbeck at the far post has made a complete mess of it. Nobody was picking him up, and he just spoons it behind, and that leaves Alisson the chance to take a quick goal kick, looking for Salah to get him round the back, and it rebounds off Salah, but then Brighton have put it cheaply out of play for a throw, which Szoboszlai will take. Steve Sidwell.
Oh, what another good opportunity there. A delightful ball from Solly March, just sort of flicks it effortlessly towards that far post, and very well back there. You're just thinking, trying to get the ball square across goal or go towards goal, just didn't get anything on it. Maybe just that lack of concentration coming on as a sub.
McAllister for Liverpool. Will we get a winning goal here with 3 minutes of the 90 left to play? As Steve was saying, Ansu Fati's readied for action for Brighton, and they're just waiting for the ball to go out so they can bring Ansu Fati on. Up towards halfway. Welbeck can't win it in the air. Van Dijk is there. Pascal Gross sticks out of boot, and it's going to spin to the left-back area where Solly March scampers across to keep it in play. Lifted up towards halfway, but McAllister read it, got his head there, and then Pascal Gross with a bit of an aimless ball upfield, although João Pedro's trying to turn it into something, and by putting the pressure on, Virgil van Dijk has had to put it out of play. Mitoma takes the throw quickly. Good intensity from Brighton. João Pedro, though, can't turn inside of Canate, and Liverpool have got it back with Van Dijk.
Right, really up the pace now. Both teams Liverpool on the attack with Robertson down his left-hand side. Both teams looking for the win, aren't they?
Yeah, certainly. Next goal win style feel to the game at the moment as Robertson gets to the left-hand side. Diaz by the corner of the area has gone for goal, deflected. No, it just flew straight out of play for a goal kick, and that gives Brighton a chance to make this change. And João Pedro, who missed that glorious opportunity a short time ago, is withdrawn for Ansu Fati.
Well, it was a glorious opportunity to more than likely win this game, and Ansu Fati comes on now. You know, remaining minutes, he can make an impact. He's a player that possesses so much quality, can create something out of nothing.
Late drama here, and also perhaps at the London Stadium for Chris Temple,
where Mohamed Kudus with his first Premier League goal has equalised for West Ham in the 89th minute. Two changes made by David Moyes, throwing on Kudus and Ben Rama. West Ham have been threatening more, and a brilliant left-footed strike low into the bottom right-hand corner. 2-2.
2-2 at West Ham, 2-2 at the Amex as well. Liverpool almost fashioned a chance though just now, with Brighton again guilty of overplaying from the back, but it is going to be a free kick for Brighton deep in their own half.
Well, believer there sweeping up and doing the hard yards. He's been fantastic today. Really put a shift in, up and down, trying to make things happen, getting into the box of Liverpool and sweeping up his defence.
So all three 2 o'clock games currently all square. 1-1 at Molineux between Wolves and Villa. 2-2 between West Ham and Newcastle. Same score here at the Amex, with just a minute of normal time remaining now, as Liverpool build from the left with Luis Diaz. He comes in field now and looks up, and Brighton have got everyone back behind the ball, trying to pack that midfield. McAllister sends it wide, and again Robertson with no obvious ball forward, so it's on halfway with Virgil van Dijk, and after that really frenetic period, it's down to pedestrian walking pace now.
Well, this is where it comes down to concentration levels. Yes, the fitness and the physical side of it will tell a factor, but it's more so concentration and mentality, closing the gaps, keeping the distances.
And they've switched off here as the ball was lumped forward to Robertson, who get it in dangerously. Dunk was there, stretching out a leg, the man who got the leveller for Brighton, preventing the ball reaching Mo Salah and potentially preventing a Liverpool winner. Brighton have it now, and Adingra, who's had a fantastic game, just announced as the club's man of the match for today, and you can't really argue with that. 4 minutes are going to be tacked on here. We're into it now. Robertson darts towards the centre of the pitch, and just outside the box has shuffled it forwards for Luis Diaz. Too much on it though, and it goes behind for a goal kick.
That was the correct pass as well. The ball was in. He cut back on his left foot, just a slide in for Diaz to run to the byline, but overhit. It was a good opportunity there, but again, concentration levels.
Dunk for Brighton into March, left side, deep in Brighton territory, closed down by Szoboszlai, backwards of square to Gross, and then Dunk has sent that straight out of play, which has got the Liverpool fans down behind Verbruggen's goal on their feet, trying to will their side on to create a chance to snatch this game by 3-2. All square with 3 minutes of injury time left to play. Don't forget, full commentary of Arsenal against Manchester City to come. Before that, an update from Pat Murphy at Molineux.
12 minutes added on in this second half. It was 4 minutes in the first half, so that's 16 altogether, which shows what a fractious, bitty game this has been. It's still Wolves 1, Aston Villa 1.
Salah on the right-hand side for Liverpool, who are looking for a winner in injury time here. Salah gets to the byline, still Mo Salah, and good watchful work from Solly March, who wasn't tricked by the Egyptians' feints and nicks the ball off him, and Brighton come upfield now with Matoma. Gomez leaps in, had to time that right, and Szoboszlai for Liverpool now pokes it through to Gravenberch. It's opened up a bit here for Liverpool. Gravenberch outside the area into Salah, and it's away from March. It's still Salah back across goal dangerously and cleared by Veltman. Liverpool coming strong late on. McAllister goes for goal from distance. That would be some story, but didn't catch hold of it. Brighton now trying to soak up the pressure. De Zerbi whistles to his players to try and get a message across to them. Szoboszlai clips it in, too much on it. Salah can't get there through to Verbruggen.
Oh, what an opportunity there, wasn't it? Salah just put the ball into an area, was begging for a Liverpool player to try and get on his front foot and just put the ball into an empty net, but nobody was there. Two teams really going for the win.
Certainly neither side settling for the point. They're both pushing on to try and snatch all three, and they might have a chance here. Ansu Fati is after it, but Alisson, great positive goalkeeping, came flying out and just in front of the halfway line almost, absolutely wellies it out for a throw, and Brighton are going to need a break in play here because Saliba is in need of some treatment. I think it might just be cramp, and perhaps not a surprise given how frenetic the closing stages have been.
Alisson has been top class today, sweeping up there, big good positioning on the injuries box in case anything does go over the top, which is what Brighton are looking to do in these later stages.
Well, 2-2 here, 2-2 at the London Stadium between West Ham and Newcastle. Plenty of stoppage time at Molineux as well between Wolves and Aston Villa. All the goals for you on Match of the Day 2 tonight, and full commentary still to come from the Emirates. Arsenal against Manchester City. Peter Schmeichel alongside John Murray for that one, as Danny Welbeck nearly pounced upon a bit of sleepy defending from Liverpool, but it's Gravenberch who brings it forwards. 30 seconds of injury time left to play. Gravenberch appealing for the free kick. He's going to get it as well, and Liverpool were in a hurry to try and take it quickly, but Anthony Taylor says he needs to dish out the yellow card first of all, so Liverpool can't take it quickly.
Well, we've just had a bit of stoppage for the lever. He was getting a bit of cramp. He's just done that sprint back. I think he's pulled up a bit of cramp again. Or he's trying to deceive the ref of not getting a yellow, but he's going to get a yellow card.
More incidents for Pat Murphy at Molineux.
Sending off for Wolves, Mario Lemina, second bookable offence. I must admit, it was just a little tug, the second one for the yellow. But Rob Jones had no doubt he had to go. I suppose a red card's been inevitable in this match. It's Wolves 1, Aston Villa 0. Wolves have got to play the last 7 minutes with 10.
Thanks, Pat. Free kick for Liverpool, just inside their own half, just inside their Brighton half. This might be the last meaningful action of the game. Lifted in, and whistle has gone from Anthony Taylor for a tug in there, so it's a Brighton free kick. We played 4.5 minutes of additional time. 4 was signalled as the minimum. March tries to poke it forwards for Ansu Fati. Can't get there, which means McAllister can bring it forwards. Trying to slip in Mo Salah. No flag for now. Salah inside the area, holding it up. Needs some support. Salah looking for an option. Back heels into Szoboszlai. Needs to get in the box now if Liverpool are going to win this. Szoboszlai puts it in, and the ball breaks inside the area for Gravenberch. Is there a free kick in there? Anthony Taylor has blown, and that is the full-time whistle. A handshake and a hug between Jurgen Klopp and Roberto De Zerbi. Smiles from Klopp, but his side missed the opportunity to come away with 3 points, having gone in front by 2 goals to 1 after Brighton took the lead through a Dingra's smart finish following a poor pass from Van Dijk. Salah with 2 goals towards the end of the half, a crisp finish after Dunk gave the ball away, and then from the penalty spot after Brighton were caught trying to play out from the back. They had a chance to go 3-1 up when Gravenberch hit the post. He couldn't take that opportunity. Lewis Dunk did from Solly March's free kick. Both sides pushed on to try and win it. Neither could really carve out a clear chance, bar João Pedro's effort over the bar. And in the end, it finishes here at the Amex after a thrilling afternoon. Brighton and Hove Albion 2, Liverpool 2.
Steve Sidwell, we spoke at half-time about the errors that were happening in the game, but sometimes, come full time, you just got to look at a game of football and say, well, that was pulsating.
That was full of entertainment, wasn't it? We've had goals, errors, two teams really committed. You could tell by the substitutions from both sets of managers, going for the win. And we've been entertained here. There's Salah's walking off now. He's had probably not one of his most impactful games, but moments where, give him the ball, he will score.
And at the end of it all, who's happier?
I would say De Zerbi would be happier in terms of a positive performance coming off the back of a 6-1 drubbing against Aston Villa. Defensively, they looked much better. There was mistakes again, but you're going to get that from